Chapter 3481. I do have some array formations here that can kill them, but it will take some time. Moreover, I also need some natural treasures. No problem, I have quite a lot of things on me. As for the terrain, tell me and I'll find it for you. Lin Xian said. He had already decided that he would not let those people off. Therefore, no matter how difficult the conditions were, he would get it done. Black Mountain wanted to find a land of 8 dragons. In other words, the 8 dragon veins gathered together. Lin Xian began to search in the nearby world. Finally, he really found it. However, a few of the 8 dragon veins here had already been destroyed. Therefore, there were no powerful sects or families in this place, only some beasts. After Lin Xian descended, he chased away all these beasts. Black Mountain came out and began to transform these dragon veins. Then, Lin Xian took out the natural treasures and various precious materials for Black Mountain to use. In the remaining 2 months, Black Mountain created the 8-dragon Heavenlock Array. This was a peerless array formation that could only be activated once. It used the 8 dragon veins to kill. Even a 3rd Heaven Sage would perish here. After this time, the 8 dragon veins would not be able to be used for 100 years. Once was enough for Lin Xian. He wanted these people to have a painful experience. Next, Lin Xian asked Fantasy to spread some news, saying that she had seen his traces in the nearby world. Fantasy left. A few days later, the news spread out one after another. After the surrounding people learned about it, they were shocked and came to patrol. At this time, Lin Xian made his move, creating several clones. He began to appear in front of those people. The eyes of those people from Vermilion Bird Palace and 8 Wind Palace instantly turned red. It was that kid. They were extremely excited. After searching for so long, they finally found traces of him. Buzz, 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 these people chased after Lin Xian as if they had gone mad. However, Lin Xian's clone maintained the same speed as them. Once they entered the mountain range, Lin Xian's clone immediately turned into spiritual energy and dissipated into the air. These people were so angry that their teeth itched. They were unwilling to give up and searched around. In the following period of time, Lin Xian used his doppelganger to play a game of hide-and-seek with these people. Lin Xian continued to wait. He was waiting for these people to gather enough experts. After all, his 8-dragon Heavenlock Array could only be used once. If the person who came was too weak, it would be a waste. Half a month later, a large number of people landed in this world. These people were seething with killing intent. In the end, most of the people who came were from the Vermilion Bird Palace. Other than that, people from the Dragon Valley and the Dark Moon Temple also came. There were many people from the top 3 forces, including many saints. There were even level 3 saints among them. Lin Xian's face turned cold when he heard the news. Damn it, these people are too despicable. Sending so many sages to kill him was definitely a death sentence. But fortunately, he was already prepared. He was prepared to give these people a shocking gift. These people should be enough to make the major forces feel heartache. If there were more, the 8-dragon Heavenlock Array would probably not be able to withstand it. After all, these 8 dragon veins had been damaged before. Heishan said. Okay, I got it. Lin Xian said. I'll go out and lure these people over. Once they've completely entered, I'll activate the array. He left Heishan here and went out alone to meet those people. After a large number of experts and saints arrived, they began to search around. At this time, Lin Xian took the initiative to appear in front of a group of people. Immediately, crazy roars were heard. Found it, it's that kid. Chase after him. The first to discover him were the people from the Dragon Valley. Their roars were like thunder as they quickly chased after the experts from the Dark Moon Temple and the Vermilion Bird Palace. They also charged over. Lin Xian used the Kuren Pong movement technique to keep a distance from these people. This allowed them to chase after him and not be in danger. Just like that, they arrived near the array. The array covered a large area, covering all 8 mountain ranges. After Lin Xian arrived, he did not run away. Instead, he turned around and looked ahead. In front of him, a dense crowd of people rushed over quickly. Kid, you can't escape. Today, you'll definitely die. Hand over everything you have. The people from the Dark Moon Temple and the Dragon Valley were extremely excited. The people from the Vermilion Bird Palace gritted their teeth. Damn it, their genius, Yin Nantian, died in the hands of the other party. Therefore, they would definitely not let the other party off. Not only did they want the other party's things, but they also wanted the other party's life. You want my treasures? Do you have the life to take them? Lin Xian sneered. Ants like you? Yours truly can kill you with a single slap. Lin Xian was extremely arrogant. He was trying to anger these people. Indeed, these words caused the surrounding people to grit their teeth. Ignorant junior, who do you think you are? You're strong among the younger generation, but now you're dead. This time, we've sent many elders, including the Grand Elder. Do you think you can withstand it? Kill him. Don't talk nonsense with him. The people from the Vermilion Bird Palace attacked first. The sages sent out Vermilion Bird Phantoms and attacked. Lin Xian dodged quickly. He did not attack immediately because there were still some people who had not entered the array. He had to wait until these people had entered the array before he attacked. A few killing swords appeared behind Lin Xian's head. They were filled with killing intent and wanted to pierce through him. Lin Xian dodged quickly. At the same time, he used stellar transposition to cause the two killing swords to collide. He dodged quickly. However, at this moment, another killing sword pierced towards his neck. With a clang, he was sent flying. A shallow sword mark appeared on his neck. This scene gave him a fright. It seemed that the Dark Shadow Temple had sent out a killing sage. They were indeed strong. If his body was weaker, this sword would have split him in half. Buzz, buzz, buzz. Another few figures charged at him like ghosts. Lin Xian roared and waved his hand. He broke the void in front of him and slapped two killing swords out. Then, he kicked them. Meanwhile, he turned around and kicked another exterminating sacred cultivator into the air. The killing sage was sent flying in the air. His body was torn into pieces. Then, the bloody mist turned into countless clones and charged at Lin Xian. Kill! Lin Xian roared and fought with the killing swords. Stellar transposition was very powerful. It could cause the killing swords to kill each other. Moreover, with the Kuren Pong movement technique, he was able to dodge quickly. He could deal with them quickly. In the distance, the experts from the Vermilion Bird Palace and Dragon Valley could not wait any longer. They could not let the people from the Dark Moon Temple attack. Otherwise, if the Dark Moon Temple really took Lin Xian away, they would not be able to get the treasure. Therefore, the experts and sages of the two forces also attacked. Chapter 3482. Boom. In an instant, Lin Xian was sent flying by a force. There were too many powerhouses this time. Even if he was fast and had a strong physique, he couldn't withstand it. As he retreated, 3 wounds appeared on his body and blood stained his body. Damn it, are you done? Lin Xian transmitted his voice. Black Mountain said, Wait, there are still some people who haven't come in. Damn it. He roared, pulled out the spear of destruction, and charged out. He didn't let Fantasy attack, and he even let her leave the array formation. Because when the array formation was activated, it would be very terrifying. Boom, boom, boom. Lin Xian was fighting with so many people, and it was really dangerous. At this moment, he couldn't use his movement technique because every part of the space was filled with violent energy. Fortunately, he could still use stellar transposition to convert a portion of the energy. Otherwise, he would have been blown up. But even so, he was still blasted into pieces by the energy. His body was completely torn apart. Damn it, are you done? Lin Xian asked again. All right, Black Mountain finally spoke. Buzz. The 8 dragon veins began to rotate, and with a crack, it was as if a dragon had turned over, directly locking the entire world. The 8 dragon skylock array was officially activated. Oh no, there's an array formation. We've been tricked. The surrounding sages' expressions also changed. They naturally realized that the entire world had changed. So what if it's an array formation? No matter how exquisite that kid's array formation is, can it trap all of us? Don't forget, how many sages have come this time? The people of Vermilion Bird Palace sneered, and the people of Dark Moon Temple and Longgu also heaved a sigh of relief. Indeed, no matter how exquisite the array formation was, It couldn't stop so many of them. Kill. Capture that kid, and the array formation will break on its own. These people all stared at Lin Xian. Lin Xian stepped back and laughed coldly. You guys don't know what's good for you. Even now, you still want to kill me. Terrifying killing intent rushed into the sky, and the entire space was collapsing. This time, the killing array was too terrifying. Not good. The surrounding people were terrified, as if they had fallen into the 18th level of hell. That terrifying aura made their hair stand on end. At this moment, they knew that they had fallen into the other party's trap. This was a peerless killing formation. No run. These people broke through the encirclement one after another. Attack a place, shatter the void, and we can leave. These were all experts. Those saints mobilized the great Tao of heaven and earth to attack. Boom. However, the 8-dragon heaven lock array had been completely activated. Endless lightning fell from the sky and pierced through the two saints. The two saints were charred black with white smoke coming out of their bodies. They fell from the sky and their souls were instantly destroyed. What? The surrounding people went crazy. The power of the lightning was too terrifying. It could directly kill a saint. At this moment, their expressions finally changed, and they fled as if they had gone mad. Even if he wanted to leave, could he? Since you dare to kill me, then go to hell for me. Lin Xian stepped back and looked at the scene around him. The corners of his mouth curled into a cold smile. Between heaven and earth, terrifying flames, endless lightning, and terrifying killing swords kept surging. It was a scene of destruction. Those who were hit by those energies were torn into pieces and turned into a bloody mist. All kinds of screams made one's scalp go numb. Capture that kid, capture him, and the array formation will be broken. Among them, a second heaven saint stared at Lin Xian with a piercing gaze. He tore through the void and rushed over quickly with the laws of heaven and earth. Go to hell, brat. A large hand reached out and grabbed Lin Xian. In his opinion, the other party was only a first heaven saint and could not block his attack at all. Lin Xian sneered. Old fart, you dare to attack me? He dodged. In the array formation, the 8 dragons roared and spat out a ball of terrifying flames that directly enveloped the other party. Whoosh! The flames surged into the sky and burned the second heaven saint. He was extremely miserable. His body was on fire as he fled frantically. However, as soon as he escaped, he turned into a bloody mist and was burned into nothingness. What? Even a second heaven saint is dead? The surrounding powerhouses all went crazy. Previously, they thought that these powerhouses might be able to forcefully break through. If they could not, they could still capture that kid. But now, it seemed that they were too careless. The power of this array formation was beyond their imagination. Even a second heaven saint would be reduced to ashes if he was hit. Damn it, this is a trap. This battle technique is too powerful. Let's leave here first and think about it later. The saints of Vermilion Bird Palace, Dark Moon Temple, and Dragon Valley roared and worked together to strike out the laws of heaven and earth. Countless Tao patterns intertwined in the sky. They wanted to forcefully tear this space apart. They could not escape. How could Lin Xian let these people escape? With a wave of his hand, countless killing swords appeared in those places and descended from the sky. Boom, boom, boom. These people were all sent flying into pieces. In the end, their bodies and souls were destroyed. Here, even a third heaven saint would die, not to mention a second heaven saint. This was a terrifying attack formed by using the power of the 8 dragon veins in conjunction with the laws of heaven and earth. Are they all dead? The others felt their scalps go numb. They roared frantically. Impossible, what kind of array formation is this? How can it be so terrifying? I don't believe it. We can definitely break it. Quick, find the flaws in the array formation. They roared frantically. Of course, there were some who did not give up. Among them, a saint killer from the Dark Moon Temple hid. He charged towards Lin Xian. This was a second heaven saint killer. He was very terrifying. He quietly came to Lin Xian's side and slashed out. This kind of unexpected attack could threaten a third heaven saint. Unfortunately, Lin Xian did not even turn his head. Countless flames soared into the sky and enveloped the saint killer. The Slayer Saint was burned to ashes. This is your final destination. Slowly enjoy the pain of death. Lin Xian sneered. Kid, you're too arrogant. How dare you set up such a sinister killing array to kill us? I can't let you live today. An extremely terrifying voice sounded between heaven and earth. Then, a figure walked over. The aura of this figure was incomparably powerful. He was a third heaven saint. I'm shameless? I'm arrogant? Humph. Don't you think it's shameless and arrogant for so many saints to attack a young first heaven saint at the same time? In terms of shamelessness, no one can compare to you. As for you falling into the trap, I can only say that you're idiots. Don't blame me. As for you, do you think you can look down on me just because you're a third heaven saint? Today, I'll let you experience what despair is. After saying that, Lin Xian continued to activate the array formation. The monstrous murderous aura formed a peerless killing sword and rushed over. Junior, you're courting death. The third heaven saint was furious. How dare an ant attack me? Chapter 3483. He opened his mouth and spat out seawater. The seawater intertwined and formed sea cheilants that rushed over. Boom, boom, boom. The two collided and exploded with a peerless aura. The sea cheilants were all shattered. The terrifying killing sword slashed forward with a biting cold aura. At this moment, the world was collapsing. The third heaven sage roared crazily and attacked with all his might. He blocked the killing sword. He slapped out with both palms, which were like two demonic plates that could destroy the world. They rushed forward with Tao runes all over them. But in an instant, all the divine abilities that he used were split apart. Not only that, his palms were also split open. Blood flowed wildly, and the third heaven sage was sent flying with a scream. It was not over yet. Lin Xian transmitted his voice, and Heishan completely activated the array. Immediately, countless killing intent gathered in the surroundings. The other three killing swords were all connected to heaven and earth. They carried an extremely terrifying aura as they charged towards the third heaven sage. A miserable cry was heard. The third heaven sage was scared out of his wits. He turned around and fled. He was disdainful before, but now he was completely terrified. This array was not something that he could resist. Bang, bang. For swords of slaughter directly pierced through his body, cutting his body into pieces. His soul escaped with its life. He wanted to escape, but he was split in half. Damn it. Everyone, gather together and attack together. When the people of Vermilion Bird Palace saw this scene, they screamed crazily. Even a third heaven sage had fallen. If they did not escape, all of them would probably die here. Yes, that's right. Hurry up and attack together. The people of Longgu and the Dark Moon Temple also quickly gathered. It's impossible for you to leave. No one can leave today. Go to hell. Lin Xian shouted coldly and completely activated the array. All kinds of terrifying scenes filled the 9 heavens. The sages fell one after another. In the blink of an eye, the number of people was reduced by half, and it was still decreasing. Kid, we won't let you go even if we become ghosts. Those people were furious. They were really desperate. This time, the 3 top sects had sent so many experts and sages. This was definitely a very powerful army. They could destroy anything. But now, he had been killed by the enemy's array. The death of so many saints was a great loss to the 3 holy lands. Then you can go and be a ghost first. Lin Xian sneered. He activated the Sword of Slaughter and killed a few more saints. The others were already on the verge of collapse. Wong. At this moment, the void split open, and a terrifying claw descended from the sky, directly slapping towards Lin Xian. Lin Xian's figure flashed, dodging in an instant. He was hit by the shockwave of this energy, and his aura tumbled as he spat out a mouthful of blood. Damn it, what's going on? He was stunned. This power was too strong. It had already surpassed that of a third heaven sage. Not good. Kid, this is a little saint. A little saint had arrived. Black Mountain's expression changed. A minor saint was no ordinary saint. He was already a titled saint. He was in existence at the 5th heaven of the saint realm. His power was absolutely terrifying. Damn it, the Vermilion Bird Palace's little saint. Lin Xian's expression was also incomparably ferocious. When he was on planet Suzaku, he was chased by the Vermilion Bird Palace's little saint. At that time, he hid in the Demon Cultivation Valley to avoid being chased by the little saint. He didn't expect another little saint to come now. How many are there? Lin Xian asked. Black Mountain scanned with his soul. There was only one. Only one. Lin Xian heaved a sigh of relief. Fortunately, if there were two, he would have to turn around and run. If there was only one, he could still fight. A little saint. Ha ha ha, it's our Grand Elder. You're dead. The surviving Vermilion Bird Palace's saints raised their heads and laughed. The people of the Dark Moon Palace and Dragon Valley also heaved a sigh of relief. They knew the power of a little saint. No matter how powerful the opponent was, he couldn't do anything to a little saint. Humph! Lin Xian snorted coldly and activated the Sword of Slaughter again. Those saints who were laughing maniacally were instantly killed. Damn it! Lunatic! The rest of the survivors retreated crazily. A little saint was here, but the opponent still dared to attack them. He was simply a lunatic. They didn't dare to provoke such an existence. In the sky, the little saint also appeared. He shouted coldly, "Ants, do you still dare to kill in front of me?" Indeed, he was a little saint. His aura was so strong that it blocked all the killing swords in the surroundings. His every move was accompanied by powerful Dao runes. Even the 8-dragon heaven lock formation shook. Kill. The little saint waved his sleeve and threw out a few Sword of Slaughter. These were all Sword of Law. They followed him like shadows and directly attacked Lin Xian. Lin Xian used the Kuren Pong movement technique and quickly dodged. The Sword of Slaughter pierced through countless of his doppelgangers. However, they didn't stop and directly rushed toward him. It was too terrifying. Just the sword chi alone was enough to make his hair stand on end. He roared, pulled out the Great Destruction Spear, and swung it forward. Clang! The Sword of Slaughter collided with the Great Destruction Spear, producing an earth-shattering sound. Lin Xian was forced back. Countless cracks appeared on his body. This was the power of a little saint. It was too terrifying. If the Great Destruction Spear wasn't a saint weapon, it would have been broken. Ant, you can't escape. The little saint was like a heavenly god, looking down coldly. The corner of his mouth raised into a disdainful smile. It was just a Sword of Slaughter, and the opponent couldn't resist it. If he attacked with all his strength, it would be easy to kill the opponent. He must torture the opponent to death. Buzz. His saint domain surged out of him. It shrouded the world. Boy, how dare you use the Slaughter formation to kill the experts of Vermilion Bird Palace? Today, you will die without a doubt. This is also where you are buried. The little saint's voice was incomparably cold. Those who were still alive in the distance all laughed. Great, the opponent can't escape this time. Boy, this is not good. Why don't we withdraw? We have killed so many saints. It's enough. Heishan said. A little saint was not an ordinary saint. He was very powerful. Even the 8-dragon heaven lock formation couldn't do anything to him. Moreover, it won't be long before the formation is completely destroyed by him. At that time, it will be too late for us to leave. Leave? Lin Xian's face was gloomy. Indeed, he had already killed enough saints. Of those who came, only 1/10 of them were still alive. The rest were all destroyed in body and soul. It was enough. However, Lin Xian was still unwilling to leave. At the last moment, a little saint appeared. Was he going to leave just like that? Was he going to let the opponent continue to be arrogant? He wasn't willing to. So what if he was a little saint? If a little saint died, it would be a great blow to Vermilion Bird Palace. Do you have a way to kill him? Lin Xian asked. What? Heishan gasped when he heard that. You want to kill a little saint? That's impossible. Chapter 3484. A minor saint is a 5th heavenly layer sage. The gap between you and a minor saint is too big. Even the 8-dragon heaven lock formation can't kill a minor saint. What if it's the 9-dragon heaven lock formation? Lin Xian said coldly. I still have the great dragon sword soul that can replace one of the dragon veins. Heishan sucked in a breath of cold air. If the Great Dragon Sword Soul is used as a dragon vein and the other 8 dragon veins are used as support, it's really possible. However, he said that it's possible in theory, but it will take some time to change the formation. Even I can't do it in one go. Moreover, someone has to attract the minor saint's attention. Can you block the attack of a minor saint? So? You can. Since that's the case, let the Great Dragon Sword Soul be the 9th dragon vein. I can hold on for a while. How long will it take for you to succeed? Lin Xian asked quickly while dodging. Heishan said, I can let the 8 dragon veins provide all the energy to the Great Dragon Sword Soul, allowing it to unleash an earth-shattering attack. This process won't take long, only 10 seconds. But kid, let me tell you, a minor saint can kill a 3rd heavenly layer sage thousands of times in a second. Are you sure you can block it for 10 seconds? Hearing this, Lin Xian sucked in a deep breath. A 3rd heavenly layer sage can't even block it for a second. He wants to block it for 10 seconds. Yes, I can use the Great Sage Tower and Yama Flame. 10 seconds shouldn't be a problem. This time, I must kill a minor saint. Seeing Lin Xian's determination, Heishan said, if I use all my strength, I might be able to complete it in 9 seconds. Lin Xian descended and landed on the ground. The Great Dragon Sword Soul rushed out of his body and drilled into the ground. In the next moment, Heishan also flew out secretly and began to create the formation. Lin Xian, on the other hand, looked at the little saint. Do you really think you can kill me? In a moment, I'll let you, old dog, fall here as well. Aunt, you're courting death. The minor saint was furious. His gaze turned into a terrifying rainbow that pierced through the air. This rainbow was not inferior to the sleeve sword. The might of a little saint was unparalleled. In the distance, the surviving saints sneered coldly. What a reckless guy. How dare he provoke a minor saint? Didn't he know how terrifying the power of a little saint was? Lin Xian dodged with extreme speed, brandishing the Great Destruction Spear and smashing it towards the 2 streaks of light. With a clang, the Great Annihilation Spear trembled. Countless cracks appeared on Lin Xian's arm, and the weapon almost slipped out of his hand. His figure flickered and brushed past them. His entire shoulder turned into a bloody mist. The 2 rainbows turned into 2 circles in the sky and attacked him again. This gaze would not rest until one of them was dead. Aunt, you can't even block my gaze, and you still dare to be arrogant in front of me? The little saint clasped his hands behind his back and sneered. This gaze was enough to penetrate the other party. Sure enough, the Great Spear of Destruction could not shatter this gaze. It could only send it flying. However, the 2 streaks of light actually came at Lin Xian from the left and right. Lin Xian sent one of them flying, and the other one came directly behind him, wanting to pierce through him. At that instant, he uttered a cold roar as an enormous creature suddenly appeared behind him. It collided with the streak of light. Clang! The 9 heavens and 10 earths were shaking. The 8-dragon Heavenlock Grand Formation was also shaking non-stop, as if it would shatter at any time. This attack was simply too terrifying. The saints who were sneering in the distance were all pushed back by this force, vomiting mouthfuls of blood. Their bodies were cracked. Only that saint was not affected. Lin Xian was also sent flying. Many cracks appeared on his body, but fortunately, it was just the aftermath of the energy. His body healed in an instant, and he turned his head abruptly. What little saint? You're just Oso. Do you think you can kill me? Lin Xian held the Grand Sage Pagoda in his hand and roared at the sky. The little saint was stunned, and his face darkened. His gaze actually failed to kill the other party, which made him a little embarrassed. However, when he looked at the pagoda, he cried out in surprise. This aura? Another sacred artifact. To think that an ant like you would have 2 saint weapons. That's truly surprising. After I kill you, these 2 sacred artifacts will be mine. He was too happy. He reached out his palm and grabbed in front of him, completely enveloping the Grand Sage Pagoda and Lin Xian. Get lost. He waved the Great Spear of Destruction and stabbed forward. Terrifying sword chi surged with an unparalleled aura. It collided with the huge hand that covered the sky. With a clang, the sound of an intense collision rang out. The hand shook slightly, and then pressed down with the force of Mount Tai. The great spear of destruction was indestructible. It could even injure a level 3 saint. But in front of the little saint, it could not break his body at all. Lin Xian took 3 steps back. The force caused the blood in his body to churn. He roared at the sky and used the 9 yang divine body to the extreme. He swung the Grand Sage Pagoda and smashed it down. The Grand Sage Pagoda was like a giant mountain that slammed into the sky. Boom, boom, boom. It shook violently. The palm that covered the sky was still mercilessly falling down. The Grand Sage Pagoda was also pushed back. Useless brat. Although you have great treasures, you are still too weak. A level 1 saint is like an ant in front of me. Do you think that an ant with a treasure sword can kill a giant dragon? The little saint looked at him with disdain. He was right. For example, the overlords like the Shadowless family in the Great Yin planet were incomparably strong. However, if a little saint were to descend, he could instantly sweep away everything. Those overlords could not block him at all. Although the Grand Sage Pagoda and the Great Spear of Destruction were terrifying sacred artifacts, Lin Xian was not a great saint. He was not even a level 3 saint. He was only a level 1 saint. Therefore, he could not display the full power of the Grand Sage Pagoda. The huge hand that covered the sky was mercilessly falling down. Once it landed, Lin Xian would not be able to escape. With a loud bang, the huge hand that covered the sky had completely fallen, covering a large area. Haha, it's done. The surviving saints all laughed. The little saint sneered. Next, he shattered the opponent's body and captured his soul. Everything on the opponent would be his. However, at this moment, there was a change. The little saint's face changed, and then it became distorted. You're courting death. Incomparable light burst out from his palm. Heaven and earth Tao runes shot up into the sky, scaring the surviving saints. Their scalps went numb. What's going on? What happened? In the next moment, they saw a hole suddenly appear in the huge hand that covered the sky. Countless black flames were jumping around. A crack appeared on the hand. From the crack, a human figure rushed out. It was Lin Xian. Damn it, that brat actually escaped? He actually escaped the attack of a little saint. How is this possible? Chapter 3485. What kind of flame was that? How could it burn a little saint's palm? These people felt like they had gone mad. The little saint's face was gloomy as well. Countless Tao runes on his palm began to extinguish the black flame, but he couldn't extinguish it immediately. This made him extremely shocked. In the end, he snorted coldly and cut off his palm. Only then did he manage to cut off the black flame. Otherwise, his entire arm would have been engulfed. The severed palm instantly grew back. He looked at the severed palm and the black flame on the ground with a gloomy face. A flame that could threaten him was truly frightening. It seemed like he couldn't be careless. This kid was too strange. Little ant, you have completely infuriated me. I will show you my true power. The little saint roared, and his power erupted, shattering the 9 heavens and 10 earths. The 8-dragon heavenlock grand formation also shook, and many cracks appeared on it. Lin Xian was blown away. Just the shockwave of this energy alone caused his 9-yang divine body to crack. One could imagine that the little saint was really angry. Black Mountain, are you done? Just wait for a few more seconds. Black Mountain said. Buzz. The little saint in front of him had already charged over. Lin Xian could only keep retreating, using the Great Sage Pagoda as a shield. Useless kid, you can't even block one of my attacks. The little saint's speed was very fast, and he arrived in front of Lin Xian in an instant. If it weren't for the Great Sage Pagoda, Lin Xian would have been torn apart by this aura. A palm reached out to grab his head. This was a situation where death was inevitable. But at this moment, Black Mountain said, Done. A dragon roar was heard, and then the 8 dragons roared. The 9th dragon roar soared into the sky and turned into a giant dragon. It was like a peerless sword light, rushing over in an instant. With a puff, it cut off the little saint's palm, splitting him in half. Puff. Saint blood splattered, and the little saint's body was split in half. What? He was split in half. How was this possible? Those who were still alive were all dumbfounded. That was a little saint. His strength was so terrifying, but now he was split in half. Damn it! How dare you injure me? I'll kill you. The little saint threw his head back and roared as he attempted to reassemble his body. However, in an instant, he was split into 4 halves. Then, a terrifying sword chi formed, and an incomparable sword diagram enveloped him. They wanted to obliterate him. No, how could you possess such power? The little saint shrieked in terror as he realized that his body was incapable of healing itself. Even the blood that had been destroyed was incapable of regrowing. This made him feel terrified. Although the previous array formation was terrifying, it still couldn't do anything to him. As long as he was given some time, he would be able to break it. But now, he was really scared. If this continued, his body and soul would be destroyed. Get lost. With a furious roar, he broke through the 9 heavens, fleeing into the distance. You can't escape, Lin Xin roared. In an instant, he grasped the great dragon sword spirit and completely absorbed the power of the 8 dragon veins. At this moment, the great dragon sword spirit turned into a peerless legendary sword and slashed down. With a poochie sound, heaven and earth shattered. It engulfed everything in front of it. The saints who were still alive were all shrouded. When everything was over, all of them were killed. None of them were left alive. Swoosh! Was he dead? Black Mountain also floated out, his face full of shock. A little saint was killed by them just like that? It was unbelievable. Humph! Lin Xian snorted coldly. He swallowed the treasure of heaven and earth, and the great dragon sword spirit returned to his body. His bones were sore all over. Being chased by a little saint was the most dangerous thing he had ever experienced. But fortunately, it was all over now. So what if he was a little saint? He was still killed by him. He walked forward and began to clean up the battlefield, putting away all the storage rings that were not broken. He took out some of the broken ones and took out the items that were inside. Then, he soared into the sky and went on his way. With so many experts and saints dead, plus a minor saint, it was definitely enough to set off a huge storm. He would let these people know the consequences of pursuing him. Lin Xian didn't go to the Wolf-Fang Star. Although he had killed a large number of experts this time, there were still too many experts near the Langia Star. If he went there, it would definitely cause a great war. So, he was ready to go somewhere else. After all, he was going to step on the ancient path of the stars. He was a young genius who wanted to walk the path of the great emperor. He couldn't stay on the Langia Star forever. So, he was ready to continue his journey. On the other side, the people of the Vermilion Bird Palace went crazy. They couldn't believe that they had lost contact with one of their little saints. They searched crazily and finally found the location of the 8 dragon veins. At this moment, the 8 dragon veins had been drained of their energy. They wouldn't recover for hundreds of years. Around the 8 dragon veins were mountains of corpses and seas of blood. Those were the corpses of saints. The people of the Vermilion Bird Palace went crazy. They found the saints of their own sect, the Dragon Valley, and the Dark Moon Palace. They were densely packed, and they were all their elite experts. No, damn it. Why did they all die here? These people's scalps went numb. Where was the little saint? They looked around but couldn't find him. However, they could clearly feel the aura of a little saint. Could it be that the little saint was killed in body and soul? Not even a corpse was left? They couldn't believe it. The experts of the Dragon Valley and the Dark Moon Palace also rushed over. When they saw this scene, many of them fainted. The people of the 8 Wind Palace and the Sikong family also gasped and felt their scalps go numb. Who the hell did this? It must be someone who resisted the Langia Star, or it must be related to them. Otherwise, they wouldn't have dared to attack so many saints. They roared crazily. However, they couldn't find the culprit at all. After this news spread, the myriad worlds were in an uproar. It seemed that another terrifying expert had made his move. It was very likely that it was a Saint Venerable or a Saint King. For a moment, even the 8 Wind Palace, the Vermilion Bird Palace, and the other 6 major forces also fell silent. They didn't act rashly, but they didn't leave either. They still sealed off the Langia Star. They didn't know that Lin Xian had already left them. He directly passed by the Langus star and went deeper into the ancient star path. It was another lonely space flight. Lin Xian sat in the spirit ship and began to classify the storage rings of his saber. He sorted those resources into different categories and stored them away. This time, he made a fortune. There were so many storage rings of people and experts, and there was even a little saints. He definitely made a fortune. After flying for about 2 months, Ming Ming said, "Young master, there is a very special world ahead. Do you want to go there?" "Oh, what's special?" Lin Xian opened his eyes and asked curiously. Chapter 3486. The world in front of them was called the Alchemy Gold Star. It was a world that focused on manufacturing all kinds of weapons, armor, and spirit boats. There were very powerful blacksmithing families and sects in it. Oh, weapons families and sections. Lin Xian's eyes moved. What could they forge? Could they forge sacred weapons? Of course. As long as they were given sufficient remuneration and materials, they could forge sacred weapons. Hall Master. These blacksmithing masters are very powerful. Rumor has it that there was an extreme weapon that was not forged by the great emperor. Instead, it was forged by a blacksmithing family for generations. Hearing this, Lin Xian frowned. He remembered that the dragon pattern cauldron in the wavering light sacred ground was not made by the great emperor. It seemed that there were always some mysterious existences in the universe. Let's go and take a look. He was also very interested in the Alchemy Gold Star, so they rushed down directly. After entering the Alchemy Gold Star, Lin Xian was surprised to find that the power of metal in this world was very rich. It seemed that the Alchemy Gold Star was indeed worthy of its name. In addition to the power of metal, the power of fire was also very powerful. He found a city and entered it, ready to understand it well. Squeak! The snow-white little monkey jumped onto his shoulder, hugged the spirit fruit, and looked around curiously. What a beautiful woman! When Lin Xian and Fantasy entered, many people's gazes fell on Fantasy. Fantasy snorted coldly and covered her face with a veil. However, her graceful and exquisite body still attracted the attention of countless people. Facing this kind of fearless gaze, a biting, cold, murderous intent appeared in the dreamy eyes. If it weren't for Lin Xian, he would have dug out their eyes long ago. Fantasy, let's go. Lin Xian waved his hand and walked forward. The place they came to was called Nine Dragon Mountain. It was a manor. There were 9 mountains in the manor. They were like 9 gigantic dragons and were extremely huge. These were 9 spirit veins. Each of them had been developed, and palaces and pavilions had appeared. It could be said that it was a paradise on earth. It was even more spectacular than the immortal Linxian Pavilion. Those who could enter this place were not mortals. Lin Xian sat down on a mountain peak. Soon, a fairy riding an immortal crane came to ask what Lin Xian and the others needed. Lin Xian ordered a few dishes and a pot of spirit wine. These dishes were usually made with the meat of top demon kings. Among them, there were half-saints and even demon saints. However, the prices were frighteningly expensive. Lin Xian ordered a few top-tier demon kings. The meat was indeed fragrant and contained a surging power. If a weaker person were to consume this meat, they would probably explode from the power. But who was Lin Xian? The secret art of longevity in his body began to circulate, directly converting and absorbing the energy. It was really a good place. Lin Xian exclaimed. The snow-white little monkey picked up a heavenly rock claw and ate happily. In the distant mountains and pavilions, many people looked over. Most of them were looking at Ming Ming. However, a few people were surprised when they saw the little white monkey. One of them flew over directly. A divine bridge appeared under his feet, carrying him like a god. He instantly flew towards Lin Xian. The place where the man was at was the 3rd mountain peak of Nine Dragon Mountain. There was a Ling-Long celestial pavilion there. There were a few figures there. Each of them had a dignified appearance. The person who came was a man in silver armor. He looked mighty and extraordinary. After he arrived, he stared at the snow-white little monkey. His eyes were burning with passion. This monkey was so intelligent. The corners of his mouth curled up into a smile. I've taken a liking to this pet of yours. Name a price. As soon as he said that, the people in the surrounding mountains, pavilions, and halls began to discuss and turn their heads. They did not expect that the silver-armored man would not take a liking to the peerless beauty next to him. Instead, he took a liking to a monkey. They were extremely surprised and looked at him curiously. What was so special about this monkey? However, the more they looked, the more surprised they became. What a clever monkey! Could it be that they were the legendary spiritual monkeys of heaven and earth? They were too shocked. The people who came here were all experts, and there were many saints. Therefore, their judgment was naturally unique. Although the little snow-white monkey looked cute, its intelligence was enough to shock these people. Lin Xian raised his head and looked at the other party. He was slightly surprised. A level 2 saint. Looking at the other party's age, he was about 500 or 600 years old. He was indeed powerful. No wonder he was so arrogant and wanted to take Little White away. However, he was just a level 2 saint. He did not take him seriously. He said calmly, "This is my friend, not my pet. Go back." Friend? The silver-armored man was stunned. Then, the corners of his mouth curled up into a cold smile. "Okay, name a price for your friend. As long as you name it, I can satisfy you. What do you want? A peerless divine ability, a powerful weapon, or a secret manual? In fact, I can even get you top-notch medicinal pills and heavenly treasures. As long as you name it." The silver-armored man stood with his hands behind his back. He raised his chin and looked extremely confident. In his opinion, under the strong benefits, the other party would definitely agree to the exchange. However, he was destined to be disappointed. Would Lin Xian exchange with such a person? The little white monkey was his companion. Lin Xian frowned. "Don't you understand what I'm saying? This is my friend, not an item to be exchanged. Leave quickly." There was a trace of coldness in his voice. The surrounding people were shocked. They did not expect Lin Xian's attitude to be so unyielding. The silver-armored man was stunned. Then, he sneered. "Kid, you just came to this world, right? How dare you talk back to me? Do you know who I am? What is my status? Do you believe that I can destroy your body and soul with a single order?" Lin Xian did not even lift his eyelids. He drank a mouthful of spirit wine and said calmly, "Oh, is your status very honorable? Then do you know who I am? What is my status? How dare you treat me with such an attitude? Have you thought about your own fate? Before doing anything, you have to know how to put yourself in my shoes. There are some people that I can't afford to offend, but there are also some people that you can't afford to offend." When these words came out, the surrounding people were in an uproar. Damn, is this young man threatening us? Heavens, who is this person? How dare he speak such nonsense? These people are all crazy. They quickly checked and found that the other party's aura was not very strong. It seemed that he was at most a first heaven sage. Where did that red-robed man get the confidence to fight against the silver-armored man? They could already see that the silver-armored man was at the second heaven. With such cultivation, at such a young age, he was definitely a top elite. Isn't a first heaven person courting death by fighting against a second heaven person? Chapter 3487. On the third mountain peak, his companions also frowned. This kid was really reckless. Brother Lei had given him face, but he dared to reject it. Brother Lei was magnanimous and didn't bother with an ant like him. If it were me, I would have made him suffer a fate worse than death. Cold killing intent appeared in the eyes of these people. The silver-armored man also frowned. He waved his hand and took out an ancient mirror. It was called the Six Harmonies Mirror. It was a half-step sacred tool that had just been made. "Kid, take it if you know what's good for you. Give that monkey to me. I can let you go if you contradicted me earlier. Otherwise, I will make you regret being born into this world." The Six Harmonies Mirror. The surrounding people were shocked as they stared at the mirror in the silver-armored man's hand. It was a bronze mirror. It was very simple and unadorned. Mysterious runes were engraved on it. Cries of surprise could be heard. Heavens, this should have just been made. It should be the work of an alchemy family. This wasn't an ordinary half-step sacred tool. Even if it wasn't a sacred tool, it wasn't far off. It was more than enough to exchange such a treasure for a monkey. The surrounding people's eyes turned red. Obviously, they wanted this half-step sacred tool very much. However, no one dared to make a move. They were just annoyed that they didn't have a monkey by their side. However, Lin Xian didn't even look at the half-step sacred tool. He didn't care about a half-step sacred tool. However, the silver-armored man's attitude made him very unhappy. He put down his wine cup and sighed. Do you really think that you are a high and mighty god who can dominate everything? I have already warned you twice to leave. However, you don't know what's good for you and don't listen. At this point, Lin Xian's eyes turned cold. Damn kid, how dare you talk to Brother Lei like that? Kneel down and accept your death. On the third mountain peak in the distance, a man stood up. It was the silver-armored man's companion. He was wearing red battle armor. His entire body was covered with red Dao runes. As soon as he said that, a large red palm appeared above Lin Xian's head, trying to press Lin Xian to the ground. This sudden scene caused everyone to be stunned. Attacking just because of a disagreement? However, looking at the red-armored man who attacked, his strength was also very strong. They didn't know what would happen to Lin Xian. Would he kneel and kowtow, or would he be pressed to the ground and kowtow? Lin Xian also frowned. Did they really dare to attack him? He was acting recklessly. However, he didn't move. With just a glance, the stellar transposition collided with the red palm right in front of his eyes. Buzz. The palm moved at a strange angle towards the man from the Yin family. The silver-armored man was startled. His figure swayed, and he dodged the attack. The others also felt their scalps go numb. Heavens, what's going on? Were those people going to kill each other? After dodging the attack, the silver-armored man frowned and looked into the distance. The red-armored man hurriedly said, "Young Master Lei, I didn't attack you. Damn it, what's going on?" He was also stunned. With his strength, how could he attack the wrong person? However, the palm just now did change direction at a strange angle. Could it be that this kid was behind it? Damn it, how dare you make a fool of me? You almost caused Brother Lei to misunderstand me. You're dead. The red-armored man was completely enraged. This time, he didn't attack from afar. Instead, he tore open the void and charged towards Lin Xian. In an instant, he arrived in front of Lin Xian. Buzz. Countless Dao runes formed a red hammer and charged towards Lin Xian's head. If it hit, it would definitely shatter into pieces. Boom, boom, boom. The surrounding space was shattered. It couldn't withstand the force at all. Lin Xian frowned again. You're acting recklessly. With a wave of his sleeve, the stellar transposition was activated. The giant hammer was thrown in the opposite direction. With a loud boom, the giant hammer landed on the red-armored man's body. The red-armored man retreated. His entire shoulder was shattered. His face was filled with fear. On the other hand, Lin Xian put down his wine cup and said coldly, "You're not qualified to be arrogant in front of me." The experts on the Nine Dragons Mountain gasped in astonishment. Who was this young man? How could he be so powerful? Previously, they thought that Lin Xian was dead for sure. However, now they could see that Lin Xian was also an expert. The red-armored man was also a first heaven sage. He was very strong, especially the attack just now. An ordinary sage of the same level would have to go all out to deal with it. However, Lin Xian only waved his sleeve and caused such a terrifying scene. This showed that his strength was above the red-armored man, especially that superpower. It was even more amazing. They still couldn't figure out what kind of superpower Lin Xian had used. No wonder he dared to compete with the silver-armored man. The silver-armored man was also stunned. Silver lightning runes flashed in his eyes as he stared at Lin Xian. No wonder he dared to be so arrogant in front of me. Lin Xian's counterattack was very similar to the palm that suddenly attacked him. It should be one of Lin Xian's superpowers. However, he had never seen it before. However, he was only surprised. He didn't care. Because his cultivation level was one heaven higher than Lin Xian's. He was confident that he could crush Lin Xian in terms of cultivation level. Young man, you're not bad, but you're too narrow-minded. Do you really think that you can dominate the world just because you've mastered one or two superpowers? The difference in cultivation level is not something you can imagine. Therefore, you're not my opponent at all. Now, obediently submit to me, and I can consider sparing your life." A terrifying sage aura rose from the silver-armored man. Lin Xian sneered and glanced at Lin Xian. "Oh, you're still so arrogant and confident. Looks like you're not that great. Do you think you're very powerful just because you're a second heaven prodigy? Don't you know that there's always someone better than you? I'm the person you can't provoke. So, while I'm still in a good mood, get out of here and you can still live. You're courting death." The silver-armored man was furious. Lightning runes appeared on his body, and he charged at Lin Xian. There was a terrifying destructive aura on it. Lin Xian snorted and put down the wine cup. Suddenly, a terrifying sword in tint rushed out of his body and rushed into the sky, blocking the lightning that filled the sky. The two forces collided and swept out in all directions. The entire Nine-Dragon Mountain shook. Boom, 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 boom. Violent explosions sounded, and the array around them lit up. A few elders rushed over and said anxiously, "You two, don't fight. Please don't break the rules." Their auras surged and Dao runes spread out. They looked as if they were facing a great enemy. "This doesn't mean that I'm going to fight." Lin Xian was still sitting there calmly. The silver-armored man snorted. "Don't worry, we know the rules here. We won't fight here." Then, he looked at Lin Xian. "If you're a man, come out and fight with me. I'll let you know what true strength is." "I wanted to let you go, but you don't know what's good for you." "Fine, since you want to die, I'll fulfill your wish." Lin Xian also stood up. Chapter 3488. "All right, I'll wait for you." The silver-armored man soared into the sky, left Nine-Dragon Mountain, and flew outside. On the third mountain, his companions sneered and followed him. "Let's go. There will always be people who don't know what's good for them." Lin Xian waved his sleeves and stepped into the air. Meng Huan followed beside him respectfully. The two of them were also very fast. When the experts on the other mountain saw this scene, they became interested. "Let's go and take a look." They also soared into the air to watch. Nine-Dragon Mountain did not allow fighting, so they came to a nearby mountain range. There was nothing to worry about here. Standing in the air, the silver-armored man turned his head and stared at Lin Xian. "Kid, are you satisfied with the tomb I chose for you?" As soon as he finished speaking, terrifying lightning rose from his body and turned into 9 thunderbolts, roaring in the sky. The 9 tiger heads bared their fangs and claws as they grabbed at Lin Xian. The entire sky was filled with lightning. The experts who were watching felt their hearts beat wildly. What a terrifying power. This silver-armored man is incredible. Yes, he's even more terrifying than some of the older experts. Thunder Leopard. Lin Xian also narrowed his eyes. His opponent was indeed extraordinary. Although he was a second heaven sage, his power was much stronger than ordinary second heaven sages. His opponent was indeed a peerless genius. But so what? He shouted coldly and released his divine body, turning into a golden giant. With a roar, his golden palm opened the sky and grabbed at the thunder tiger head. Boom, boom, boom. The two collided and instantly released a destructive energy. The surrounding people all narrowed their eyes and activated their defenses to resist. However, at this moment, the void split open and a square bronze cauldron appeared, suppressing the violent energy. Then, a figure appeared on top of the square bronze cauldron. "What? Someone's here." "Someone stop the battle," the surrounding people exclaimed. Lin Xian did not attack immediately. Instead, he narrowed his eyes and looked to the other side. The silver-armored man also stopped. Everyone looked at the silhouette in the sky. It was a middle-aged man, but his hair was already gray. His eyes were filled with terrifying power. At this moment, he looked at the silver-armored man and smiled. "Mr. Lei, so you are here. I just arrived at the Nine-Dragon Mountain and heard that you came out, so I came. I'm not late, am I?" "So it was Taoist Hua. Greetings." Mr. Lei laughed as well. "It's not too late. There's a reckless ant who wants to provoke me. I'm just about to kill him." "Oh." In the sky, Taoist Hua looked to the other side, where Lin Xian was. Immediately, The space around Lin Xian began to distort. It was as if countless raging flames were burning. Fantasy frowned. He wanted to attack, but Lin Xian stopped him. What a terrifying power of fire! However, Lin Xian was not affected at all. Daoist Hua was stunned when he saw that the other party was not afraid of his flames. No wonder he dared to go against Mr. Lei. He did have some strength. However, a mere first heaven saint was not worthy of Mr. Lei taking action. I'll send someone to kill him. Mr. Lei, please come with me. Daoist Hua laughed. He did not take Lin Xian seriously at all. The silver-armored man thought for a while and nodded. All right, but bring back the little monkey on his shoulder. Don't kill it. Don't worry, his head and the white monkey will be given to Mr. Lei. Mr. Lei, please. Daoist Hua made a gesture of invitation. The silver-armored man and his companion nodded and flew into the sky. Daoist Hua waved his hand again, and countless experts appeared. His cold voice was heard. Kill him and bring his monkey over. In the surroundings, the spectating experts were all stunned. Wasn't this scene too sudden? At the same time, screams could be heard. 9 Netherworld Clan. It was actually someone from the 9 Netherworld Clan. Heavens, that was a top blacksmith clan. Many people swallowed their saliva. It was obvious that the 9 Netherworld Clan was extremely terrifying in this world. That was an expert from the 9 Netherworld Clan. He should have used the 9 Netherworld Heart Flame. Who was that silver-armored man? How could he be treated so respectfully by an elder from the 9 Netherworld Clan? Needless to say, he must have a great background. Exclamations could be heard. At the same time, they looked at Lin Xian with sympathy in their eyes. It's over. This kid actually offended someone with such a high status. He's probably dead meat. Not to mention the silver-armored man. Just the 9 Netherworld Clan would be able to kill him. Previously, they thought that Lin Xian still had some strength and might be able to contend with the silver-armored man. Now that something like this had happened, they all changed their minds. Lin Xian was dead meat. 6 figures appeared and surrounded Lin Xian in fantasy. One of the young men sneered. How dare he attack an esteemed guest of the 9 Netherworld Clan? He's dead meat. Buzz. He opened his mouth and spat out a pearl. The pearl had terrifying Tao patterns on it, and it instantly swept across the 9 heavens. A terrifying storm swept towards Lin Xian like 2 wind dragons dancing in the sky. What a terrifying storm! Was that the wind spirit pearl? Exclamations could be heard. As expected of a refining family, such a terrifying weapon appeared just by raising his hand. In the face of such a terrifying storm, Lin Xian's expression was calm. He raised a finger and pointed forward. Immediately, the 2 tornadoes were disrupted and spread out in all directions, enveloping the 6 people in the vicinity. The 6 people were instantly enraged. Damn it, what the hell was going on? Angry roars could be heard as a terrifying counterattack came. Between heaven and earth, there was a violent flow of energy. Lin Xian laughed and soared into the sky. The storm energy that filled the sky couldn't get close to him at all. The surrounding people widened their eyes. What the hell? What kind of supernatural power was that? Wasn't it too powerful? This kid must have some kind of secret. They were stunned. It was unbelievable that he was unharmed in such a violent storm of energy. The 6 people from the 9 Netherworld Clan also roared. They tore apart the storm and stared at the figure. Kid, where are you going? You're going to die today. They were completely enraged. The other party's move put the 6 of them in a very sorry state. Moreover, it was their elder's order to capture the other party. How could they give up? Therefore, they chased after him. However, after chasing for tens of thousands of miles, their expressions changed. Damn it, the other party was too fast. They couldn't catch up. Look at me. One of them sneered and took out a war chariot that shone with incomparable light. It was engraved with Tao patterns, and it was shaped like a dragon bearing its fangs and brandishing its claws. The war chariot enlarged, and they stood on it. With an order, the formation was activated, and the war chariot turned into a stream of light. Its speed was extremely fast. Chapter 3489. In front, Lin Xian slowed down. These people shouldn't be able to catch up with him, so he was prepared to go to other places to take a look. At the same time, he was very curious about the Nine Nether tribe and wanted to find out more about them. However, not long after he flew, he frowned and looked behind him. Behind him, endless waves of air and a ray of light were coming at him at a dazzling speed. It was so fast. Dreamy was surprised. Lin Xian narrowed his eyes. He instantly saw that it was a war chariot. There were 6 figures standing on it. Those 6 figures were the people from the Nine Nether tribe. They actually caught up with him. They really didn't give up. Su Chun was surprised. The other party's war chariot was very special, as expected of a crafting family. He didn't continue to leave and was prepared to play with these families. Almost in the blink of an eye, the war chariot at the back rushed nearby. The 6 people on the war chariot jumped down and stood in 6 directions. They surrounded Lin Xian tightly. One of them snorted coldly. "Brat, why don't you run? Do you think you can escape from us?" "Sigh, there are always people who don't know what's good for them. To be honest, if you can't catch up, you can still live. But you just have to catch up. Since that's the case, I can only send you to hell." "You want to send us to hell? You?" The 6 members of the 9 Underworlds clan all laughed. "Reckless brat, who do you think you are? It seems that you don't know how powerful the 9 Nether tribe is. Well, let him see the means of the 9 Nether tribe." Among them, a woman giggled. She waved her hand and took out a treasure bottle. She held it with both hands and pointed the mouth of the bottle at Lin Xian. "Scum, go to hell." Light flickered on it, and balls of flames rushed out from it. Lee Fire Bottle. This was also a terrifying weapon that contained the southern skyly fire. Once this fire was released, a first heaven sage couldn't resist at all. "Haha, turn into ashes in the fire." The woman's voice rang out. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Lin Xian was enveloped by the southern skyly fire, and crackling sounds came from his body. The flames collided with his body. Every strike was dazzling. However, Lin Xian wasn't injured at all. He just stood there in the middle of the fire. Southern sky primordial fire? Not bad. Its power is not bad. What? How is this possible? That woman screamed, not daring to believe it. The other party was actually unharmed? This was impossible. Engulfed by the southern heavenly fire, even a first heaven sage would have been reduced to a pool of blood. How could the other party still be alive? Damn it, is there something wrong with his physique? Or does he have some kind of treasure? Look at me. Another person roared angrily and pulled out a fan. The fan flickered, with a mountain drawn on the front and a river on the back. With a wave of the fan, mountains and rivers appeared and crushed the heavens. This was an extremely terrifying weapon, the mountain river fan. The mountain peak could suppress the 9 heavens, and the river could cut through everything. Nobody under the 2nd celestial layer would dare to fight against it. Buzz, buzz, buzz. Lin Xian shot out his golden hand, one hand holding the sky. At the same time, he lifted his foot and stepped on the river. He was like a heavenly god, creating heaven and earth. He had blocked the terrifying attack. This was impossible. That man also screamed. The other party actually blocked the mountain river fan. Who was he? Damn it, this kid is too strange. Let's attack together. With a roar, the 6 of them attacked crazily. In addition to the fire flask and the mountain river fan, the other 4 also took out their weapons. Each of them had an extremely terrifying weapon. As expected of a blacksmith family, they were too terrifying. Even a 2nd heaven sage would have to flee in panic if they were to face their attacks. However, they were soon terrified. That was because the person in front of them was too strange. Whether it was fire, lightning, mountain fangs, or other attacks, they could not do anything to him. He was like a Vajra god of war, rampaging between heaven and earth. He was too weak. In the end, all the phenomena disappeared, and Lin Xian stood in the void, unharmed. Although the weapon was good, it was only a support. The most important thing was the strength of the person. Let me show you what the strength of a person is. Lin Xian took a step forward and aimed at the woman. As he opened and closed his hands, the fire flask instantly formed. Then, he gently pushed it forward. The golden flames that filled the sky rushed over like a giant dragon. The fire flask, The surrounding people were stunned. The other party instantly conjured a fire flask, and the flames were even more terrifying than the real southern skyly fire. "Damn it, block it for me." The woman screamed and pushed the real fire flask. The southern skyly fire collided with the other party's 9 suns divine fire. The terrifying flames exploded, and the woman instantly vomited blood and flew backward. In front of the 9 suns divine fire, she was no match at all. Moreover, cracks appeared on the fire flask. It was burned and shattered. The woman was also wrapped in flames. She screamed miserably and turned into a pool of blood. No. The remaining 5 roared madly. One of their fellow tribesmen had actually died. He was killed in one move. "Damn it, kill him. We must kill him." Their eyes instantly turned red. Lin Xian shouted coldly, "You want to kill me? Naive. Let me show you what the real mountains and rivers are like." The golden hand waved toward the sky. Endless earth elemental laws danced and instantly condensed into a golden mountain. What kind of mountain was that? It was incomparably majestic, as if a divine mountain had descended from the celestial world. It directly pressed down on the man with the mountain and rivers fan. The man unleashed a terrifying mountains and rivers to resist it, producing a rumbling sound. Lin Xian waved his hands, and the water elemental laws formed a Milky Way that swept out. The Milky Way was too resplendent, connecting heaven and earth. The golden mountain and the terrifying Milky Way directly enveloped the man, turning him into a bloody mist. No, counterattack. The remaining 4 people were completely crazy. In 2 moves, the other party had killed 2 of their people. This method was heaven-defying. They did not dare to be careless and attacked crazily. However, they finally understood Lin Xian's words. What was true power? Lin Xian did not use any weapons at all. He relied on his own strength to communicate with heaven and earth. It was much more terrifying than the weapons in their hands. At this moment, they were crazy. They were the top blacksmithing families. The weapons in their hands could communicate with heaven and earth. They were much more terrifying than the other sages. Therefore, in this place, they were godlike existences. But now, relying on his own strength to communicate with heaven and earth, it was even more terrifying than their weapons. This completely shattered their understanding of the world. Was there really someone whose strength was more terrifying than their weapons? These geniuses of the blacksmithing families went crazy. They were all killed with unwillingness and shock. Chapter 3490. After dealing with these 6 people, Lin Xian narrowed his eyes. Interesting. Although these 6 people's strength was average, the weapons in their hands were very surprising. If it was not for his strength, any other person in the second heaven would probably be injured or killed. As expected of a blacksmith family, Lin Xian whispered to Nan Nan. He asked Ming Ming if there were any other top blacksmith families on this planet other than the Jiuyo clan. "Yes, there are." "What plans do you have?" "I have a spirit ship that I plan to upgrade. It would be best if it could be upgraded to a sacred weapon." The spirit ship he was talking about was naturally the Black Earth. The Black Earth could not keep up with Lin Xian's progress until now. If it could be upgraded to a sacred weapon, it would be a great help to him. Of course, there was another one, and that was the Great Spear of Destruction. The Great Spear of Destruction was a sacred weapon of the Demon Clan, and it had been passed down for a very long time. It could be said to be an extremely terrifying weapon. He wanted to refine this weapon and then condense it into a treasure sword. However, he knew that this might be more difficult than upgrading the Black Earth. A sacred weapon of this grade was not so easy to refine. Therefore, Lin Xian's main task was to purify the Black Earth. As for the Great Spear of Destruction, it would depend on luck. "Let's go." Waving his hand, Lin Xian and Ming Ming flew into the distance. When they passed by a few cities, they heard some rumors. It seemed that something incredible was about to happen on the entire alchemy planet. The powerhouses in these cities were all flying in the same direction. Ming Ming went to inquire and returned. "Lord, they are heading in the direction of Alchemy Valley." What kind of place was Alchemy Valley? It was a holy land for blacksmithing, and many blacksmith masters lived there. There were also many other saints who went there. Even the powerhouses from other planets went there. It was a bit like our Langiastar. Alchemy Valley could attract powerhouses from all directions. After all, there were the most new treasures there. Moreover, there was an extremely terrifying blacksmith master recently. It was his 5,000th birthday. Therefore, countless people went to pay their respects. During this period, there might be some new weapons that would be leaked. Oh, a 5,000-year-old master. He could be considered a living fossil. Lin Xian was extremely surprised. He asked, wondering which clan this grandmaster belonged to. Dreamy had a strange expression on her face as she spoke. It was Nine Nether's team. The Juyo clan? Lin Xian frowned slightly, but he soon smiled. Interesting. Things were getting more and more interesting. Dreamy, let's go to Alchemy Valley. Both of them took to the air and headed for Alchemy Valley. Alchemy Valley was located to the west of Alchemy Planet. It was a vast valley that looked like a kingdom. The Alchemy Valley was extremely unusual because there were two spirit meridians below. One was a fire elemental spirit meridian, while the other was a metal elemental spirit meridian. Furthermore, both of them were extremely terrifying supreme-grade spirit meridians that had existed for tens of thousands of years. Therefore, it attracted countless alchemy experts to live here. Many elders and experts of large clans had also set up palaces here. For example, the Nine Nether clan's Grand Elder had his palace here. This Supreme Elder was no ordinary person. He had lived for 5,000 years. He could be said to be a living fossil. At this moment, his birthday had attracted people from all over the world. If they wanted to please the old man, then any weapon the old man took out would be enough to make their blood boil. Rumor had it that the old man was able to refine sacred weapons without any difficulty. It was said that the dragon sword of a powerful saint in the Dragon Valley was made by the old man. There was another rumor that the Dark Moon Temple once had an extremely terrifying Dark Moon Blade, which was also made by the old man. This was a famous sacred weapon. Lin Xian and Dreamy also rushed over. Both of them had changed their faces slightly. No one could recognize them. After all, they remembered that the silver-armored man had been invited away by the experts of the Nine Nether clan. If they met at this time, they would probably be exposed because Lin Xian had a plan. Along the way, he had also collected many legends about master alchemists. However, in the entire Alchemy Valley, no one could compare to the old man who was celebrating his birthday. The old man's alchemy skills could be said to have reached the acme of perfection. Therefore, if Lin Xian wanted to evolve the Black Earth into a true sacred weapon, his greatest hope was the Nine Nether clan's Grand Elder. However, he had just had a conflict with the Nine Nether clan, and he could not use his true identity. Otherwise, those from the Vermilion Bird Palace would probably come after him again. Therefore, he would think of other ways. After arriving at the Alchemy Valley, Lin Xian directly found a quiet mansion, and then let Dreamy go out to gather information. Soon, Dreamy returned. How did it go? I've already found out that the Nine Nether clan's Grand Elder is celebrating his birthday. In addition to the experts of the 8 Barons, the younger generation of the Nine Nether clan will naturally come to celebrate his birthday. The competition between these juniors is very intense. Some of the bloodlines are very strong, and some have been suppressed to the point that they can't raise their heads. This time, I've chosen 3 people, and I'll let the Hallmaster decide. As she spoke, Dreamy took out 3 jade slips and placed them in front of Lin Xian. Lin Xian withdrew his hand, and his soul popped out to check. Soon, he finished reading the 3 jade slips. Then, he took the middle one and said, I'll choose this person. This person's name was Nine Nether Xiaoyan. It was a nice name, but he was a fatty. He could be considered one of the disciples of the 3 main bloodlines of the Nine Nether clan. However, he was a little slippery and lazy in his cultivation, so he was not favored by the clan elders. He was also often bullied by the genius disciples of the other 2 bloodlines. A direct disciple who was often bullied. Very good. Lin Xian nodded in satisfaction. This was his goal. Find out where he is, and I'll go meet him. Lin Xian's lips curled into a smile. He had a simple plan, and that was to change his appearance and then change his identity to get close to the younger generation of the Nine Nether clan. It would be best if he could become friends, and then the younger generation would bring him to the birthday banquet. This way, the chances of him meeting the Grand Elder would be greatly increased. Of course, Lin Xian would not look for those strong disciples. After all, those people were overbearing and did not care about anything. It was not easy to meet them. However, if it was a weak person, it would be different. They should be eager to raise their heads in front of the old ancestor and obtain his approval. Dreamy went to track 9 Nether Xiaoyun and confirm his whereabouts, while Lin Xian was patiently preparing. This time, he would definitely evolve the Black Earth into a saint artifact. Dreamy was very efficient. After a few hours, she began to send a voice transmission to Lin Xian, saying that she had found him. She wanted to invite Lin Xian over. When Lin Xian heard this, his figure changed, and he turned into a streak of light, disappearing into the void. Chapter 3491. At the Jubal Pavilion. It was a very prosperous place in Alchemy Valley. There were all kinds of treasures here, including all kinds of heavenly treasures and earthly treasures. At this moment, the people who came and went were all rich and noble. In the Jubal Pavilion, there were many chariots, spirit boats, and beast mounts parked in the streets and in the sky. Buzz, buzz. Suddenly, the void trembled. A stream of light flew over quickly. It was a chariot, and the one pulling it was a 3-tailed heavenly dog. As it roared, it brought about a strong demonic wind. The 3-tailed heavenly dog soon stopped above the Jubal Pavilion. A figure came down from the chariot. The figure was fat and looked like a ball. It was a young man with a fat head and big ears. Beside him, there were 2 beautiful women supporting him. The moment the fatty came down, he turned into a stream of light and flew directly to the Jubal Pavilion. The 2 maidservants were wrapped up by him and entered the Jubal Pavilion in an instant. The Jubal Pavilion was dazzling, and all kinds of heavenly treasures were covered by arrays. Even a sage could not take them away by force. The moment the fatty entered, he was respectfully invited in by the warriors inside. "Oh, isn't this young Master Yun? He hasn't been here for many days." A charming woman walked over. She was dressed in red, and as she swayed, she made people feel hot. The 2 women next to the fatty curled their lips, and there was a trace of hostility in their eyes. The fatty's eyes were indeed shining. "Sister Hong, I missed you so much." The fatty rushed up and chuckled. "Sister Hong, I'm here this time to discuss a big business deal with you. Why don't we go to the 9th floor and talk alone?" As he said that, the fatty grabbed Sister Hong's hand. Sister Hong pulled her hand out without a trace and laughed. She pointed a finger at the fatty's forehead and said with a smile, "All right. However, I still have something to do now. Young Master Yun, take your time. I'll help you buy whatever you like." "Something to do? What's more important than helping me pick out heavenly treasures?" The fatty was a little dissatisfied. However, Sister Hong smiled and said, "Oh, speaking of which, it's also related to you. It's another young master of the Abyss clan. He's here to buy a heavenly treasure too." "What? Someone from the Abyss clan? Damn it, could it be those bastards? What did they buy?" Fatty asked nervously. Sister Hong said, "It seems to be some metal material, right? It was extremely precious and seemed to be used to refine saint artifacts." "It was used to refine saint artifacts." Fatty gritted his teeth. "Motherf asterisk Kerr, they're so generous. Young Master Yun, you can take your time picking. I'll take my leave first." Sister Hong swayed her body and left. The fatty was no longer in the mood to admire her back view. His expression was grave. "Damn it, the old ancestor's birthday celebration is coming soon. I was just about to buy something to please the old man. He didn't expect that those bastards would also come. Moreover, they wanted to buy the materials for the saint artifact. No, I can't lose to them. This time, the old ancestor only has one spot to take in a disciple. I must get it." Fatty gritted his teeth, then raised his voice and screamed, "Men, take me to the 3rd floor." Soon, the people from the treasure-gathering pavilion led Fatty's group to the 3rd floor. The scale of the 3rd level was also very large. However, there were far fewer people here. This was because the items on the 3rd level were simply too expensive. Not to mention ordinary people, even saints might not be able to afford them. In the east, There was a formation that was divided into many areas. In each area, countless rays of light wrapped around a natural treasure. At this moment, there were only 2 or 3 people here. After Fatty arrived at the 3rd floor, he directly led his group to the east. Soon, he stopped in an area. In front of him was a ball of green light. It was a green metal. It looked like bronze, but its color was much richer. 3,000 pieces of green ancestral gold. Fatty's eyes lit up as he looked at the piece of green metal. This was a material that could be used to refine sacred artifacts. If he could get it and give it away at the birthday celebration, he would definitely be honored. He would definitely be able to win the old ancestors' favor. However, when he saw the price marked on the side, he immediately sucked in a breath of cold air. He could take out 500 caddies of divine crystals, but 50,000? Even if he was killed, he wouldn't be able to take it out. Although he was also a direct disciple, he wasn't favored. He couldn't afford it with the little money he had. The fatty stood there with a gloomy look on his face. The few figures beside him also opened their mouths to ask. One of them was also interested in a piece of metal. It was a piece of black metal that was also used to refine saint artifacts. It wasn't big either, but it reached 40,000 caddies of divine crystals. The other one wanted 45,000 caddies of divine crystals. The eyes of the 2 saints also flickered and they frowned. To be honest, this price was also a bit of a burden for them. Therefore, for a moment, the people here were all thinking, I want this piece of 3,000 green ancestral metal. At this moment, a calm voice rang out. It streaked across the entire 3rd floor. Immediately, everyone on the 3rd floor turned their heads. Fatty even sucked in a breath of cold air. Damn, who is this? Why is he so generous? Can't he see that those powerful saints are hesitating? Everyone looked in the direction of the voice. The fatty screamed as he realized that there was a figure standing near him. It was a young man with a calm gaze and a handsome face. There was also a beautiful figure beside him. The person who made the bid was the person in front of him. What did this kid say? He wants that piece of 3,000 green ancestral metal? The saints beside him were shocked. How was that possible? It was probably just a casual remark. How could that kid afford it? The Tao companion of the saint pursed her lips with a disdainful expression. With their status, they couldn't afford it. How could that kid afford it? At this moment, an old man tore open the void and appeared on the 3rd floor. He said, I'm an elder of the Jubal Pavilion. Young master, do you really want to buy this piece of metal? Yes, that's it. The young man nodded. Wrap it up for me. The fatty next to him widened his eyes. The 2 or 3 saints around him were also stunned. One of them sneered. How dare he be so stubborn? They never thought that the other party could afford it. However, in the next moment, those saints were dumbfounded because the young man directly took out a storage ring. 50,000 caddies of divine crystals. Take a look. After the elder of the Jubal Pavilion took the storage ring, he probed it with his soul. Soon, he smiled. The amount was just right. Young master, this is your item. The 3,000 green ancestral gold was already sealed in the treasure box. There was a seal on it. There was also a token on the treasure box, which was used to open the seal. It could be said to be very safe. After Lin Xian took the treasure box and token, he nodded slightly and put them into the storage ring. He turned around and was about to walk out. Chapter 3492. Brother, wait a minute. Seeing that the other party was about to leave, the fatty rushed up and said with a smile. Lin Xian stopped. Oh, you have something to say? This figure was Lin Xian. He had his eyes on the fatty for a long time. At this moment, the fatty had bought 3,000 pieces of ancestral green gold. Brother, you're really generous. May I know which family you're from? The fatty said with a smile. Lin Xian was amused. He knew that the fatty had taken the bait, but he couldn't show it. Instead, he said calmly, Oh, why? Do you want to be friends with me? Yes, yes, yes. I want to be friends with you. The fatty was smiling so widely that his eyes had turned into slits. Lin Xian said, All right, but this isn't the place to talk. Let's talk outside. Yes, yes, yes. The fatty hurriedly nodded. Brother, I know a shop nearby. It's very delicious. The greenhouse there is absolutely delicious. I'll take you there now. Lin Xian walked in front with fantasy. The fatty followed at the side with a smile and kept trying to worm his way into being friends. In the distance, the three sages also came back to their senses. Their faces were full of shock. At the same time, there was a trace of doubt. Who is this person who's so generous? It seems that he came out on his own. He's a young master of a big family. I can take advantage of him. The three of them also left quietly. After leaving the Jubal Pavilion, Lin Xian walked into the distance. Suddenly, his eyebrows twitched and his eyes flashed with a trace of coldness. Someone was following him. It was the sages on the third floor. He continued to walk forward without batting an eyelid. Fatty brought along his two women and followed beside him. Brother, you have no idea. You were so cool just now. You didn't even blink when you bought 50,000 caddies of divine crystals. Didn't you see that the sages beside you were stunned? Lin Xian stopped and looked at the fatty with a smile. Not only were they stunned, but they're also very bold. They've already followed me. What? They followed me. The fatty was stunned and hurriedly looked around. Brother, don't scare me. Lin Xian ignored him. Instead, he said coldly, since you're already here, why don't you come out? Brat, your soul is pretty good. You were actually able to discover our existence. A figure appeared in front of him. Beside him was a beautiful Tao companion. It was a saint. That saint had a cold smile on his face. Hand over that piece of metal, and I'll spare your life. You're alone. Aren't the other two coming out? Lin Xian looked at the surrounding void and sneered. Naturally, he could sense that there were two more saints here. Dreamy took a deep breath with a solemn expression. Fatty's two women's faces also changed. The fatty snorted coldly and stood out. Brother, don't be afraid. I'll protect you. He looked at the saint in front of him. Damn it. How dare you attack my brother's things? Are you tired of living? Let me tell you, I'm from the 9 Netherbird clan. The 9 Netherbird clan. The sage was stunned. The fatty smiled. That's right. I'm from the 9 Netherworld clan. Our patriarch is about to celebrate his 5,000th birthday. Many experts have come to our family. Why? Do you want me to call him over for you to meet? Who would believe you if you said you were from the 9 Netherbird clan? Everyone knows about the 5,000th birthday. You can't call me. The saint in front snorted coldly. The fatty was furious. Damn it. How dare you doubt my identity? Come, open your eyes and see if I'm from the 9 Netherbird clan. The fatty was also furious. He waved his hand, and a token appeared in the sky, shining with an unparalleled light. That was the 9 Netherworld token. The expression of the sage on the other side changed. The two sages who were hidden in the void gasped as well. How could they not recognize the 9 Netherworld token? It was a token unique to the 9 Netherbird clan. No one could copy it. It seemed that the fatty in front of them was really from the 9 Netherbird clan. So you're a prince from the 9 Netherbird clan. Sorry for disturbing you. Goodbye. The saint in front of them left in a flash. The 9 Netherbird clan was very powerful. Moreover, the 9 Netherbird clan's supreme elder was about to celebrate his 5,000th birthday. There were many experts from the 9 Netherbird clan in the entire Alchemy Valley. They did not dare to attack the 9 Netherbird clan at this time. He was not the only one who left. The two saints hidden in the dark also left. Fatty proudly put away the token. Meanwhile, Lin Xian and Dreamy exchanged glances with each other, and a smile appeared on their faces. Next, it was time to act. Lin Xian was surprised. So you're from the 9 Netherbird clan. I didn't expect that. That's right. I'm from the 9 Netherbird clan. Those saints would not dare to go against me. Lin Xian pretended to be grateful. You saved my life this time. Otherwise, those saints would not have let me go. Sigh, I should be the one treating you. No, I'll do it. The fatty laughed. The two of them walked into the distance with their arms around each other's shoulders. Soon, they became familiar with each other. They ate Dapeng spreading wings as they got to know each other like brothers. The fatty sighed. Brother, I'm bitter. Although I'm from the 9 Netherbird clan, there are a few bastards who bully me. Damn it, they bully me too much just because they are favored by the elder. The great ancestor's birthday celebration is my last chance to turn things around. However, he sighed again. Lin Xian asked, "Oh, what's the problem? Tell me about it. I'll definitely be able to help." "Brother, to be honest, I haven't prepared a gift for the elder yet. How can I not be worried?" Lin Xian laughed when he heard that. "So that's what you're talking about? I thought it would be something difficult. Look, what's this?" As he spoke, he took out the treasure box and placed it on the table. The fatty was stunned. Then, he said, "Brother, what do you mean?" "The elder should be an expert in refining weapons. This metal is a good material for refining saint weapons. I'm sure the elder will like it if you give it to him as a birthday gift." "I like it. I really like it." The fatty was about to cry. "Unfortunately, I can't afford it. I can't take out 50,000 caddies of divine crystals. You don't have to buy it. I'll give it to you." "Give it to me?" The fatty's eyes widened. He couldn't believe it. "Did I hear wrongly? You're giving such a precious metal to me?" Lin Xian said, "You didn't hear wrongly. We hit it off at first sight. Aren't we brothers? Besides, you helped me get rid of a few sages just now. You saved my life. Why can't I give it to you?" "Brother, you're the one who saved my life." The fatty's eyes lit up. "Are you sure you're giving it to me?" Lin Xian waved his hand and pushed the treasure box and token over. The fatty was so excited that he was about to cry. "Damn it. From now on, you're my brother. If you have any problems in the future, you can talk to me through a mountain of knives or a sea of flames." The fatty's face was covered in tears and snot. "Good." Lin Xian smiled. He was indeed smiling in satisfaction. The first step was a success. Chapter 3493. The two of them drank until it was very late before they left. The fatty insisted on bringing Lin Xian to his palace. Lin Xian happily agreed. The group sat on the war chariot. The three-tailed heavenly hound roared and flew quickly in the sky. Finally, they arrived at a majestic palace. Don't look at how the fatty wasn't valued in the clan. No matter what, he was still the young master of the Nine Nether clan. Hence, his residence was truly magnificent. After arranging for Lin Xian to stay in a quiet hall, Fatty arrived. "Bro, do you want me to find you two beauties to play with? They are all top-grade beauties." Lin Xian shook his head. "No need." "Oh, I know." Fatty glanced at Fantasy, who was beside him, with an expression that said, "I understand." "Then I won't disturb you." Fatty hugged the two beauties beside him and left in a drunken state. After Fatty left, Lin Xian and Fantasy also entered. They closed the door and activated the array. The drunkenness in Lin Xian's eyes completely disappeared. Fantasy beside him also said, "Palace Master, it seems like our plan was successful." "Yes." Lin Xian nodded. "In the next period of time, I'll get close to Fatty. When the time comes, it won't be a problem for us to attend the birthday banquet. Wait until we meet that living fossil. Then we can think of a way to get in touch with him and have him modify the sacred artifact." Fantasy frowned. "Palace Master, will he agree? After all, sacred artifacts are not ordinary things. They are very rare. Even saints might not have them. If there are no special circumstances, I think that living fossil won't easily make a move. Don't worry, I have a way. I can get him to provide us with materials and metals for free to create a real sacred artifact." Lin Xian's lips curled into a smile as he spoke. Fantasy beside him was very curious. However, she did not continue to ask and retreated to the side. Then, the two of them began to rest. Lin Xian sat down cross-legged. He naturally had his ways. He did not know much about refining artifacts, but he knew about alchemy. In the Pill Sage's notes, there was a type of spiritual medicine that could definitely move this living fossil star. The Pill Sage's notes were something he had obtained from the illusionary divine furnace. They were notes written by many Pill Sages. There were a large number of pill formulas inside. Among them, there were some that had miraculous effects. One of them was an elixir that could increase one's lifespan. Lin Xian had cultivated this type of elixir before. However, that grade did not have much effect on the saint realm. What Lin Xian wanted to refine this time was a pill that targeted the sage level. Furthermore, it could increase the lifespan of a saint by 100 years. 100 years might seem short, But for a living fossil, it was extremely fatal, because to them, 3 to 5 months was already a luxury. Therefore, 100 years of lifespan was definitely an endless temptation. Lin Xian planned to use this as his trump card. He didn't believe that this living fossil of the Nine Nether tribe wouldn't be moved. However, it wasn't easy to forge a pill that could increase one's lifespan. Not only did it require a high forging technique, but it also required a high forging technique. Not only was the refining process required, but the medicinal ingredients were also very strict. Therefore, Lin Xian had to prepare well. Once he was done, he would be able to obtain a sage artifact in the future. In comparison, he wasn't at a disadvantage at all. Outside the mansion, a few figures flashed and arrived at another hall. Reporting to the third young master, the situation has been investigated. The other party does indeed have that item. A man in black knelt on the ground with one knee. In front of him stood a figure with his back facing him. It was a man in a white robe. He was tall and slender. He didn't even turn his head. Oh, my foolish younger brother actually managed to obtain that item? What a surprise. However, he didn't have a chance to turn the situation around. He had to find someone to snatch the item. Yes. The martial artist who was kneeling on the ground like a ghost replied respectfully. However, he soon looked up and asked, "What if the other party tries to stop me?" Kill. A cold voice sounded, and countless spatial cracks appeared in the surroundings. The ghostly figure who was kneeling on the ground had already disappeared. The moon was dark and the wind was strong. In the mansion, there were no lights on Lin Xian's side, but on the other side, the fatty's side was brightly lit. After all, he was a half-sage, so he still had the energy to do that. There were 50 to 60 beautiful women in the room, and most of them were close to the Dao realm. These women were playing with the fatty, and the fatty was drinking and playing at the same time. It was really carefree. Buzz. Suddenly, the void cracked, and a terrifying sword light shot towards the fatty. The beautiful women screamed in fear and quickly fled. The fatty was so scared that his fat trembled. He rolled and smashed through the void to escape. However, this sword strike still left a gash on his back, almost splitting him into two halves. The fatty roared like a pig being slaughtered. The armor on his body was split open, and his eyes instantly turned red. Damn it, someone come? Someone attacked me. Kill him. There was the sound of something breaking through the air outside, and terrifying energy surged, but soon, the sound of fighting could be heard. Obviously, there was more than one killer. Stupid pig, no one will save you. Hand over the item, and I'll spare your life. What item, damn it? The fatty stood up and gritted his teeth. The cracks on his body had already healed. Terrifying law fragments danced around him. Chapter 3494. But very quickly, another assassin appeared in the void. His terrifying sword of slaughter once again slashed towards Fatty. Fatty activated his weapons to block the attack. He could still deal with one Slayer Saint, but if two came, Fatty obviously couldn't handle it. Retreating step by step, he could only summon all the weapons to his side to defend himself. But it was only a matter of time before he was killed. Damn it! Who are you? How dare you kill me? I'm from the Nine Netherbird tribe. If you kill me, the Nine Netherbird tribe will not let you off. Fatty roared crazily. At the same time, he activated his strength and spread it in all directions. King Hell, send someone over for me. Come and protect me. It's useless. No one can save you today, even if you scream yourself hoarse. The two assassin sages attacked mercilessly. One assassin sage knocked away the rotten wooden hammer, while the other knocked away the black gourd. At the same time, the two assassin sages attacked Fatty with their killing array. Fatty only had a pagoda above his head. If the pagoda was knocked away, he would not be able to withstand the attack of the killing array. Clang! The pagoda was struck by the sword chi and shook nonstop. The Fatty was also sent flying and vomited large mouthfuls of blood. Another few hundred attacks rushed toward him. Fatty tried his best to block them, but cracks appeared on the pagoda. It seemed that it could not hold on. Damn it! Stop it! I'll give you something. Fatty was scared out of his wits. He estimated that his pagoda would be destroyed in a few more attacks. So, he took out the 3,000 pieces of ancestral green gold from his storage room and threw it to his opponent. Humph. The assassin sage sneered. It's too late. Go to hell. The terrifying sword of slaughter rushed over like a murderous dragon. Fatty's pupils shrank. Oh no. Am I going to die here? Boom. A golden palm descended from the sky and landed in front of him, shattering the sword into pieces. At the same time, with another move, the slaughter saint was smashed into pieces. Who is it? The other assassin sage was shocked. Is there an expert here? Fatty laughed proudly. Humph. This is the territory of the 9 Netherbird tribe. How dare you come here to kill me? Just wait to be killed. Whoosh. That killer saint instantly vanished into thin air. It seemed like he wanted to leave now that his attack had failed. However, as soon as he disappeared, he was slapped out by a large golden hand. It was a giant golden hand that shattered the void in all directions. Even Killer Saint was smashed into pieces and fell to the ground, his face filled with terror. A figure walked in from outside. You want to leave? Do you think you can? Who are you? Killer Saint's face was filled with fear. He did not expect that the one who attacked was actually a young man. Brother Xian, it's you. The fatty was also stunned. He originally thought that it was an elder of his 9 Nether clan, but he didn't expect it to be Lin Xian. I was originally cultivating, but I didn't expect that a great battle would break out here. I was just about to come over to take a look when that happened. Did I hurt you? Lin Xian asked. Fatty shook his head. Almost. If I had come a little later, I would have become a wandering ghost. Don't worry. Since you've saved me once, I'll help you this time. Lin Xian turned around and looked at the other party. That killer saint wanted to run, but he was knocked to the ground several times. Eventually, the golden palm pressed him to the ground. Lin Xian asked, Do you want to search his soul? All right, I'll see who's the one who dares to attack me. Fatty gritted his teeth. The next step was to search his soul. The result of the search made Fatty's face turn green. Damn it. He thought that it was the 3 sages of Jubal Pavilion who wanted to attack him, but the result was completely different. It was his 3rd brother. Damn it. It was those bastards from his family. Those people were just bullying him previously. To think that they would want to kill him this time. Seemed like the news of the 3,000 ancestral green gold had been leaked. Those people were afraid that you would be favored, so they wanted to kill you. Lin Xian said slowly after slapping the killer saint to death with a single slap. The people in the main hall had been killed, and the battle outside had calmed down. Fantasy walked in and said to Lin Xian, Young master, it's all settled. There were also terrifying experts outside, but with Fantasy's help, no one could escape. Lin Xian nodded. Fantasy stood behind him. At this time, Fatty said, Brother, you saved my life again. There's no need to talk about this between you and me. Tell me, what are you going to do next? Do you want to find a hidden place? We'll come out when the old man celebrates his birthday. Damn it. I can't take this lying down. Fatty gritted his teeth, but then he sighed. 3rd brother is very strong. He has many experts under him. I'm not his match at all. So, we'd better be patient for a while. The next few days were peaceful. There was still some time before the old man's birthday. More and more experts came to Alchemy Valley. On this day, Lin Xian found Fatty again and asked, Is there a bigger spiritual elixir hall here? I need a few precious spiritual elixirs. What kind of spiritual elixirs? I'll help you ask. Fatty asked his subordinates to ask around, and soon the news came back. He said, Brother, these spiritual elixirs of yours are really precious. Those big spiritual elixir halls don't have them. But don't worry, I've already found them. They're not in the spiritual elixir hall, but somewhere else. Somewhere else? Where? Battle Sage Palace. Battle Sage Palace. What kind of place is that? Lin Xian was puzzled. Fatty chuckled. Brother, come with me. Battle Sage Palace was a magical place. It was a martial artist's heaven and also a place for fighting. It was also a place for all kinds of treasures to exchange. There were some unexpected treasures in the market, and even some treasures obtained from robberies and assassinations. It couldn't be helped. Normally, they would be hunted down by some big families, but there was nothing to worry about here. The treasures here were not for trading, but for fighting. Treasures of similar levels were used as wagers, and then the two sides fought. The winner would get the treasures of the other side. The two spiritual elixirs that Lin Xian needed had appeared in Battle Sage Palace before. However, they were in the hands of others. If Lin Xian wanted to get them, he would have to fight with the other side. Lin Xian heard about these things from Fatty on the way here. After hearing it, his eyes flickered. Fight? Aren't they afraid that the gap between them would be too big? For example, a small saint or a holy venerable would appear. If so, wouldn't they have no chance of winning? Brother, you don't have to worry about this. Small saints and holy venerables are not important. Once they appear, they will be recognized immediately. If such people fought here, the news would probably spread like wildfire the next day. They can't afford to lose face. Moreover, even if a small saint appeared, it would be a small saint against a small saint. They wouldn't attack other saints. So, you don't have to worry about this. However, there is definitely a gap. Often, a first heaven saint would fight a second heaven saint. You can only blame it on your bad luck. Chapter 3495. The Battle Saint Palace had a great background. It had a place for battles, and there were more than 10 arenas. Those arenas were either passed down from the ancient times, or they were set up by peerless saints. Even a battle between minor saints wouldn't be able to destroy them. It could be said that there was no need to worry about fighting here. Of course, it was only limited to the arenas. Fighting outside the arenas was strictly forbidden. Otherwise, one would be killed on the spot by the people of the Battle Saint Palace. It was rumored that there were at least 2 minor saints in the Battle Saint Palace. Moreover, it was rumored that there was the shadow of a sacred sovereign behind them. It could be said that ordinary people wouldn't dare to cause trouble here, not even saints. It was obvious that it wasn't Fatty's first time here, so he was very familiar with the place. When his 3-tailed heavenly hound stopped in the air, a group of people came down. After Lin Xian came down, he looked around and exclaimed. When he was at the treasure-gathering pavilion, he had heard countless war chariots, spiritual boats, and demonic beasts. But when compared to this place, it was not even half as good. This place was even more majestic and extravagant. There were so many of them that they filled the sky. One could imagine how many experts came to the Battle Saint Palace. Young Master Yun probably hadn't come here for a long time. Fatty's arrival attracted many people's attention. After all, Fatty's identity was also here. He had been locked up in his family for the past few days. Today, I brought my brother here. Hurry up and show me your treasures. My brother is going to show off his skills. After that day, Fatty was full of confidence. In his opinion, no one in the first heaven could be Lin Xian's opponent. As long as he didn't meet anyone in the second heaven, there shouldn't be any problems. Soon, someone brought over a list. On it were the treasures that had appeared before and the number of the arenas. Brother, look, the 2 spiritual herbs you want are on the list. Fatty handed over the list. Lin Xian glanced at it and was delighted. Indeed, the 2 spiritual herbs he wanted were on the list. As expected of the Battle Saint Palace, spiritual herbs that were so hard to find were basically extinct in the outside world, but they could be found here without any effort. Arena number 7, let's go. Fatty led the way in front while Lin Xian and Fantasy followed behind him. They walked towards Stage 7. Arena 7 was currently in the midst of a battle. Moreover, the battle was extremely intense. Around the ancient fighting ring, there were many palaces and pavilions floating in the sky. Within the palaces, there were many figures sitting cross-legged. His head was towering. After Fatty arrived, he went to a room as well. They climbed up the ladder and arrived at a palace. It was old 6. He actually came and recklessly took out this thing. What? Did he want to take a gamble? Third young master, do you want us to make a move? Snatch it while you're at it. The sage beside him smiled. The others also smiled, their eyes shining. third young master waved his folding fan and said indifferently, "Of course. Old Sixth doesn't know what's good for him, so don't blame me for being impolite." His tone suddenly changed, and his expression was a little serious. That day, none of the people we sent to assassinate Old Sixth returned. I'm afraid they have already died. When did an expert come to his side? Moreover, the other party dared to be so arrogant and take out that kind of metal as a wager. This meant that there should be an expert by his side. Just in case, let's directly send a second heaven sage. Yes, I know what to do. An old man beside him respectfully went to prepare. Soon, on the arena, a piece of news spread, causing the people in the surrounding pavilions to be surprised. At the same time, they were incomparably excited. These people were also not ordinary. Soon, they found out that the one who had 3,000 ancestral green gold was actually Juyo Xiaoyun of the Juyo clan, and his opponent was actually the third young master of the Juyo clan. This was actually a battle between two clans, and it was a battle between two young masters. Instantly, it attracted the attention of countless people. Damn it, they took the bait. Brother, help me kill them later. Fatty gritted his teeth impatiently. Don't worry, I have the same intention. However, tell them that if they don't take out the nightmare flower, we won't bet with them. Chapter 3496. Third Young Master. They want us to use the nightmare flower as a wager. Since they want to die, let's fulfill their wish. Let's use the nightmare flower as a wager. Since the other party has taken out 3,000 ancestral green gold, it's not a loss for us to use the nightmare flower. Moreover, we will definitely not lose this time. The people on the third young master's side sneered, and soon, someone walked out. When the nightmare flower was taken out as a wager, Lin Xian had already left the stage. When the people on the other side came out, the surrounding people exclaimed, "Heavens! It's someone from the second heaven." They sucked in a breath of cold air and looked at Lin Xian, a first heaven sage. It's over. It's over. We made the wrong bet this time. As expected, the gap between us is too big. Sixth brother can't beat third brother. Discussions rang out one after another. Aside from these two parties, the others could also suppress their bets. However, there were very few people who wanted to suppress Fatty from the beginning because they thought that Fatty wouldn't be able to defeat the third young master. Now, it seemed that they were right. A first heaven sage against a second heaven sage had no chance of turning the tables. I was wondering what kind of expert you were, but it turns out that you're just a first heaven trash. I'm really not interested. The man on the other side said coldly, "Kid, if you don't want to die, admit defeat obediently. I'll accept your 3,000 ancestral green gold." Lin Xian wasn't angry after hearing that. He said indifferently, "Sure, you can take it away if you defeat me. However, I don't think you have the chance. You're courting death." The man was furious. The armor on his body bloomed with incomparable light, and his entire person became incomparably powerful, like a god fiend. He took a step forward, and his body shone with boundless light, turning into sword chi that slashed forward. The attack of a second heaven sage. The sword chi carried mysterious Tao patterns, tearing the world apart. The others felt their scalps go numb when they saw this. Even those of the same level might not be able to withstand such an attack. Not to mention, the opponent was a first heaven sage. Buzz. Lin Xian pushed his palm forward, and golden flames danced like suns, spinning in the sky. Every one of them was incomparably terrifying. The two of them clashed fiercely in the sky. Every strike contained the power of heaven and earth. If it wasn't for the fact that this arena was an ancient arena that could withstand their attacks, it would have long been torn apart. In fact, half of the world would be destroyed. The flames in the sky were incomparable. Lin Xian stood in the midst of the flames like a god of fire. He looked ahead and said indifferently, "I've said it before, it's impossible for you to defeat me. Damn brat, don't be so arrogant." On the other side, the second heaven sage let out a furious roar. His face was extremely gloomy. He couldn't even take down a first celestial layer brat. The surrounding people sucked in a breath of cold air. This young man was not simple. This was a battle beyond one's cultivation level. If one wasn't a peerless genius, they wouldn't be able to do it. Kill. The saint of the second heaven was also enraged. The light on his body was unparalleled. Countless laws intertwined to form a sword of the great path, which fell mercilessly. Sword traversing 9 heavens. The sword light shone like the cries of 10,000 beasts. It had an unparalleled power that could cut through everything in the world. Lin Xian attacked aggressively. His fists swept in all directions. The entire world was trembling, and the ancient arena was shaking non-stop. In the end, the opponent's sword of the great path was shattered into pieces. The saint of the second heaven was also sent flying. You've lost. Lin Xian's voice was cold. A bloody hole appeared on the body of the saint of the second heaven. He looked extremely miserable. He healed quickly and gritted his teeth. Bullshit, I haven't lost yet. Go to hell, brat. An immortal light rushed out from between his eyebrows. It quickly intertwined and formed a palace. The palace that looked like an immortal palace floated in the sky. On top of it, there was an incomparably vast aura that suppressed Lin Xian. You're courting death. Since you don't admit defeat, I'll beat you until you do. Lin Xian's face darkened. The flames on his body were dancing. They turned into streaks of sword chi that shot into the sky. At this moment, the sword chi swept across the 9 heavens like raging waves hitting the shore. It made everyone's hair stand on end. It was as if they were not facing a saint of the first heaven, but a peerless sword god. Lin Xian's eyes also became incomparably bright. No one could look directly at them. 9 suns opened the sky. He clasped his hands together, and a sword light flew out and slashed forward. Between heaven and earth, the laws kept dancing, and the entire world was quickly collapsing. This sword was much more terrifying than the path sword that the opponent had condensed before. It slashed the sky palace in an instant. With a boom, the sky palace was sent flying. The saint of the second heaven was also sent flying. His body split open, and he let out a miserable cry. I admit defeat. I admit defeat. He was so scared that his scalp went numb. The others were in an uproar. Did he lose? It was hard to believe that a saint of the second heaven was defeated by a saint of the first heaven. He won. He actually won. I'm not dreaming, am I? Fatty's face was also full of shock. To be honest, he did not have much hope, but he did not expect Lin Xian to be so strong. Dreamy stood there, her eyes shining, and the corners of her mouth raised into a faint smile. She had been following Lin Xian these days, and had long known how terrifying Lin Xian was. She did not think much of a saint of the second heaven. In another hall, the third young master was going crazy. How is this possible? The third young master suddenly stood up. His face was ashen, and he was no longer as calm as before. The powerhouses beside him were also dumbfounded. Damn it, how did that guy do it? Could it be that he has a mysterious weapon on him? Did he bring a sacred artifact? Voices of surprise sounded. If it was a sacred artifact, they could explain it. However, many of the saints' faces were gloomy. They did not see a sacred artifact. Perhaps it was hidden in his body. These people did not believe that he could defeat a saint of the second heaven with his own strength. Below, Lin Xian had defeated a saint of the second heaven and obtained the nightmare flower. She had kept it for him. Great. There's still one more spiritual herb. Then I can refine a pill that can increase the lifespan of a saint. Damn, brat. You want to leave just like that? Suddenly, a cold voice sounded from the sky. Everyone turned their heads to look. Then, they took in a breath of cold air. It's the third young master. The third young master of the Abyss family. Lin Xian also stopped and looked at the white-clothed young man in the sky as he asked in an indifferent tone. Oh, you want to stop me? Don't tell me you don't know the rules of the Battle Saint Palace? Brat, don't use the Battle Saint Palace to pressure me. I know the rules here, and I will not break them. Moreover, I know the rules better than you. Do you dare to join forces? Consecutive battles. This was also a type of gambling. That meant that if one side lost, they could continue to bet. However, because it was a consecutive battle, the bets were double. If one lost, they would lose double. It could be said that it was very exciting and moving. Therefore, under normal circumstances, it would attract the attention of countless people. Chapter 3497. The fatty jumped out and hurriedly said, "Brother, come back quickly. Don't bet with them. They'll definitely be ruthless." He naturally knew his third brother's personality. He would definitely not let Lin Xin go. "Sixth brother, you're not bad. You actually dare to go against me. Looks like you don't know what's good for you." The white-robed young master stared at the fatty. The fatty's expression changed, and he snorted coldly. "Third brother, you're inferior. Just admit it. Why? Are you trying to play tricks on me?" Seeing the two young masters of the big families fighting openly and secretly, the others were also interested. They wondered how the situation would change next. They all looked at Lin Xian. Lin Xian's eyes flickered. "It's not impossible. Of course, unless you can take out the sunset fruit." "What? Sunset fruit? What kind of precious spirit herb is that?" Many people were shocked. This young man was really demanding an exorbitant price. The people on the third young master's side also frowned. The third young master snorted coldly. "What a coincidence. I do have one of those things. Kid, you're a man of your word." He flipped his hand and took out a fruit. The fruit was like a sun that was about to set in the mountains, bringing with it a kind of sunset beauty. Seeing the fruit, the others were shocked. As expected of the third young master, he even had such a precious spirit fruit. Lin Xian was also shocked. "This thing is also in the hands of the third young master? Great. It seems like it's really easy to get it. This third young master is really a gift to me. All right, according to the rules, use the sunset fruit and other things as the bet. I'll bet with you." "Damn, are you going to play big?" The fatty's mouth twitched. He wanted to remind them, but he was stopped by the illusion at the side. "Don't worry, the temple master will be fine." On the other side, the third young master also revealed a cold smile. "Are you willing to bet? That's good. I promise that I'll make you regret this decision." "How did you eat my treasure? I'll make you spit it out 10 times more." "I'll go." Another figure walked out. It was a muscular man who looked like King Kong. The third young master looked at him and nodded. "Okay, take 2 more Dharma treasures. You can use them when necessary." Jin Gang took 2 magic treasures and put them away. With a stomp of his foot, he descended from the palace like a god of war. When he landed on the arena, the entire world shook. King Kong, it was actually him. Oh no, this guy is also a second heaven sage, and his cultivation is even stronger than the previous one. Not only that, the third young master must be prepared this time. Vajra must have a weapon refined by the Netherworld clan. That person's weapon would definitely be able to increase the opponent's combat strength. I say, that kid is dead for sure. Brat, prepare to die. As soon as King Kong landed, he roared and rushed over. His entire body was like a bolt of lightning as he charged over. What a powerful physique. Lin Xian's eyes also exploded with a piercingly cold light. He felt his blood boiling as he also let out a cold shout and charged over. As the two of them collided, their powerful auras tore countless large cracks in the sky and earth. Following that, the two of them continued to attack. It was as if 2 bolts of lightning were colliding between heaven and earth. Every strike struck fear into the hearts of the others. Too fast. The two of them were really too fast. It was a pure physical collision. Damn it. Is that kid's physical body that powerful too? They were about to go crazy. Impossible. This brat must be wearing some kind of terrifying battle armor. Just wait and see. He is definitely not a match for King Kong. The people on the third young master's side gritted their teeth. After more than 100 exchanges, the two of them finally separated. Blood dripped from the sky and landed on the arena, causing the arena to tremble. That was the blood of a sage, which could pierce through the void. He was injured. The people on the third young master's side sneered. "I told you, he's definitely not King Kong's." Before they could finish their sentence, they were stunned because they realized that King Kong was the one who was injured. King Kong's hands were broken. Not only that, but his arms were also full of cracks. How was that possible? The people around them screamed crazily. Where was that kid? That kid should have been beaten up. They hurriedly looked over. He was fine. He was actually fine. That's right. Lin Xian was standing there. The light on his body was still the same. He was not injured. In a contest of physique, King Kong was actually at a disadvantage. That was really unbelievable. King Kong's body trembled. His face was also full of fear. Previously, he was still disdainful of his opponent. However, after exchanging blows, he knew that he had been careless. The person in front of him could not be described with common sense. He could not defeat his opponent, but he would not admit defeat. He gritted his teeth and roared. His broken arms quickly recovered. Then, he said coldly, "Kid, you are very strong. However, it is impossible for you to win this battle, because I still have a trump card." After King Kong finished speaking, he took out a weapon from his storage ring. It was a black weapon. The moment that weapon appeared, it brought with it an extremely cold aura. It was vast and mighty. This time, everyone was stunned. Even Lin Xian was stunned. His mind was a little blank. Why did the weapon feel so cold? It was a murderous weapon. Why did it look so similar to the legendary Great Spear of Destruction? Screams rang out in the Battle Sage Palace. Could it be the Great Spear of Destruction? But why was it in King Kong's hands? Although King Kong was strong, he did not have the Great Spear of Destruction. Lin Xian was also stunned. Indeed, when King Kong took out the weapon, he was stunned. King Kong's weapon was indeed 70% similar to the Great Spear of Destruction. However, he was certain that it was not the Great Spear of Destruction because the real Great Spear of Destruction was in his hands. Lin Xian asked, "That should be a replica, right?" "That's right. It was a replica. However, it was a replica that was personally made by an elder of the Nine Nether tribe. Although its power was not as strong as the real Great Spear of Destruction, it was not far off. Kid, do you think you can win against such a demonic weapon? No matter how strong your body is, can you withstand it?" So it was a replica of the Great Spear of Destruction. Everyone was shocked. However, some of the older experts also nodded. The Nine Nether tribe had made many weapons. Among them, there were many replicas of sacred weapons. They had even made replicas of earth weapons. It was rumored that the Nine Nether tribe still had a replica of a weapon. It was made of extremely precious metal and had taken tens of thousands of years and countless generations of effort to make it. Although it was not as good as an extreme weapon, it was much stronger than an ordinary sacred weapon. This was also why the Nine Nether tribe had flourished for so long, and no one dared to provoke them. "You want to hurt me with a mere replica?" Lin Xian smiled. "Even the real Great Spear of Destruction would not be able to hurt me." Chapter 3498. He indeed had the confidence to say such words. However, King Kong sneered. "Arrogant fellow, I'll let you experience the power of this demonic weapon." Wong. Lin Xian took a step forward. Like an ancient god of war, the aura on his body rose without limit. Streaks of murderous sword chi shot out from his body, and the 5 elemental laws turned into divine chains that spun under his feet. His opponent's aura had increased again. King Kong took a deep breath. He knew that he couldn't wait any longer. Otherwise, it would be difficult for him to defeat his opponent if his opponent's aura grew. Kill. With an angry roar, he moved the demonic weapon in his hand. Instantly, the sky collapsed and the earth cracked. The entire space could not withstand the might of the demonic weapon. A black shadow swept towards Lin Xian like a divine chain. Wong. Lin Xian made his move as well. His 5 elemental laws danced non-stop as 5 elemental sword chi soared into the sky. Clang, clang. The sound of an intense collision rang out, causing everyone's ears to bleed. That terrifying demonic weapon could easily pierce through a saint in the second heaven. However, it was unable to move forward in the slightest in the face of this sword chi. It was beaten to the point of trembling. Even King Kong's perlicue was cracked. This scene was simply too frightening. These nomological sword chi were too powerful. What kind of nomological sword chi was this? He was just a first heaven sage. How could he comprehend the laws to such an extent? At this moment, the older generation sages were all dumbfounded. They found it hard to imagine that there was such a powerful law in the world. Ah, devils roar to the heavens. King Kong roared as the demonic weapon in his hand exploded with unparalleled power and stabbed forward. It pierced through the heavens, wanting to pierce a hole through Lin Xian. Throughout the entire process, demonic clouds surged, ghosts wailed, and wolves howled. It was as if this world had turned into a demonic world. Wang. Lin Xian's eyes also exploded with an unparalleled light. He raised his arm, and a clanging sound rang out. It sounded like a dragon's roar, but also like the cry of a sword. A terrifying 5 forms divine sword condensed in his hand. Although it was a sword of laws, it was comparable to a divine weapon. As the sword slashed down, the stars were destroyed, and the sun and moon collapsed. This sword was truly too frightening. Everyone felt as if a peerless sword shadow had flashed past their minds. They were so scared that their scalps went numb. Clang! A world-shaking sound rang out as the demonic artifact was sent flying. The Vajra arm split open once again, making it impossible to catch it all. The demonic weapon was sent flying by the sword aura, and it directly slashed at King Kong, enveloping him. His entire body was split into 2 halves. Saint Blood dyed the arena red, and the entire arena in the valley exuded a desolate aura. All sorts of headless corpses and illusions of mountains of corpses and seas of blood appeared in the surroundings. Clearly, this arena had experienced countless battles. Now that it was stained with the blood of the saints, it triggered a phenomenon. Even the replica of the Great Spear of Destruction couldn't suppress him. Everyone was dumbfounded. The people on Third Young Master's side couldn't believe it either. Third Young Master's eyelids were twitching wildly. Damn it! How was this possible? Where did old Six find such a person? He was about to go crazy. Beside him, a saint comforted him. Third Young Master, don't be angry. Vajra hasn't lost yet. He still has a treasure that he hasn't used yet. That's right. He still had the holy battle armor. His current attack power was enough to contend with the enemy. It was just that his defense power couldn't keep up. However, if he activated the holy battle armor, then he would have no weaknesses. As expected, Vajra's 2 halves quickly healed. At the same time, a ball of armor appeared on his body. A ball of black armor instantly enveloped his body, revealing only a pair of cold eyes. As soon as the armor appeared, a powerful aura swept across the 9 heavens and 10 lands. Everyone screamed, "Holy battle armor!" This was the pride of the Netherworld tribe. It seemed like Third Young Master attached great importance to this battle. Not only did he give Vajra the replica of the Great Spear of Destruction, he even gave him the holy battle armor. Brat, you have completely angered me. I will never let you go. You definitely won't be able to break through my defense now. Vajra grabbed the demonic weapon again and charged over. He was like the black demon god, emitting a cold aura from head to toe. Oh no, Brother Shin is really in danger. Fatty couldn't sit still anymore. The replica of the demonic weapon had already made his scalp numb. Now that he had taken out the holy battle armor, he couldn't believe that anyone could turn the tables. Saints below the 3rd heaven might not be able to break this armor. This was already an invincible position in the innate realm. Holy battle armor? Lin Xian's eyes flickered and he sneered. He could clearly feel the terrifying power of that armor. So what? Looking at the figure charging over, he didn't dodge at all. This scene made the others dumbfounded. However, Lin Xian had his own plans. The moment Vajra waved the demonic weapon, he activated stellar transposition. Buzz. The black demonic weapon reversed at an unbelievable angle and pierced Vajra's eyes. A miserable sound rang out as King Kong rolled in the sky, letting out a miserable shriek. Everyone was stunned. Heavens, what's going on? They didn't see it clearly. Vajra was so powerful and was wearing the holy battle armor, but he was injured in one move. What did that brat do? It was too fast. I didn't see it clearly. It wasn't too fast. He didn't even make a move. Damn it, it was so strange. The saints were also terrified. Was this the same as the legends? Wasn't this an immortal technique? They were all stunned. Third young master's people were also dumbfounded. This was impossible. They held it in for a long time before they made such a sound. To be honest, they couldn't believe it, because they were wearing the holy battle armor and holding the imitation demonic weapon. Who below the third heaven could fight against them? They couldn't imagine that the holy stone armor only revealed a pair of eyes. However, Vajra seized the opportunity and pierced through the eyes. Furthermore, it was pierced through by the demonic weapon. Was Vajra trying to commit suicide? They wouldn't know what was going on even if they were beaten to death. Lin Xian ignored them and said coldly, "Admit defeat. Otherwise, you'll definitely die." Admit defeat. Vajra had no choice but to admit defeat. Great, the setting sun fruit is in my hands. If Vajra lost, he would have to pay double the bet. After Lin Xian passed, he put away the sunset fruit. As for the rest of the bet, he gave everything to Fatty. Fatty laughed so hard that his eyes narrowed into a line. "Ha ha ha ha, brother, this is great. Let's go eat the demon saint's meat later." After winning a large sum of money, they could really afford to eat the demon saint's meat. "Do you still want to bet?" Lin Xian looked at the third young master with a smile. The third young master and the others were instantly enraged. Damn it, are we being targeted? Damn it, does he really think we're fat sheep? They had never been provoked in such a way before, and they were furious. Fight it out with him. What do you have? Even Vajra wasn't a match for him. Third young master, why don't you let me do it? Just as everyone was silent, a seated figure in the hall spoke faintly. Chapter 3499. This person was very confident. If anyone else heard this, they would be shocked. Even King Kong with 2 terrifying weapons could not defeat the other party. Who would dare to boast like this now? However, the third young master and the others were delighted. They quickly turned their heads and looked behind them. There were a few figures sitting behind them. One of them had a smile on his face. He was the one who spoke. "Young Master Long, are you really going to fight?" The third young master was also pleasantly surprised. He quickly walked forward. The young man who spoke was very handsome. However, there were many scales on his forehead. From afar, it looked like a mysterious pattern. The dragon race. This person was actually from the dragon race. If the third young master is willing to bet again, I can place a bet and fight with that person. Great. Hearing this, the third young master smiled. The sages around them also smiled. Young Master Long was an expert from the Dragon Valley. Yes, if young Master Long fights, we will be safe. This person was actually from the Dragon Valley. The Dragon Valley was also here. What were they here for? Were they here to celebrate the birthday, or for some other reason? It was not just the Dragon Valley. The 8 Desolate Lightning and the Dark Moon Temple were also here. It seemed like they were up to something. Since young Master Long is willing to fight, I will bet again. The third young master also regained his confidence. He stood up and said in a cold voice. He had made a bet in a row. When the news spread, everyone in the Battle Sage Palace was stunned. He wanted to bet again? Heavens, the third young master was really generous. In a joint fight, the bet would be 3 times the usual. This was not an ordinary 3 times, because the stakes were all extremely precious items, and any one of them would cause countless people's eyes to turn red with envy. 3 times, this was definitely a shocking amount. When the fatty heard this, he was also stunned. Damn, what was his third brother doing? Where did his confidence come from? Could it be that he still had a trump card? Or had he gone crazy? It would be best if he went crazy. This way, they would have 3 times the usual amount of treasures. Lin Xian also narrowed his eyes. Since someone had come to give him treasures, why would he not accept it? Therefore, he still stood in the arena. At the same time, he was curious. Who else was going to fight him? Was it a third heaven sage? Or an even more powerful expert? The others were also discussing among themselves. Who was it? Many people even guessed that it was a veteran expert who had made a move. That was impossible. Although they could win this way, they would lose face. That's right. The third young master was someone who cherished his reputation so much, he probably wouldn't. Everyone was puzzled. However, they soon saw a figure walking out of the third young master's palace. When they saw the figure, they were extremely shocked. Young man. It was actually a young-looking person who walked out. They were surprised that he wasn't an expert of the older generation. At the same time, they sucked in a breath of cold air. It was someone from the dragon clan. Naturally, they also saw the dragon tattoo on his forehead. It was a purple dragon tattoo. From afar, it looked like a purple cloud with a terrifying aura. Longzi, it was actually him. Many people exclaimed. Who was this person? Was he very powerful? There were also some people he didn't recognize. He wasn't just powerful, he was simply too powerful. Not long ago, the Battle St. Palace had a 5-match winning streak, and that was him. What did he mean by the victor of the 5 consecutive battles? Was he the one? Everyone sucked in a breath of cold air. They knew about this matter. Recently, countless experts had entered the Alchemy Valley, so the Battle St. Palace had reached a peak. Many experts had entered, and a 5-match winning streak had broken out some time ago. Among them, one person had won 5 matches in a row and had caused a huge uproar. They didn't expect it to be Longzi. If he made a move, there would be no mistakes. That's right, they didn't expect the third young master to be able to invite him. A 5-match winning streak, that kid was definitely dead. That's right, no matter how strong that kid was, he had only won 2 matches in a row. How could he win 5 matches in a row? Moreover, Longzi was someone from the Dragon Clan. Exclamations of surprise rang out, and the fatty's face became extremely ugly. Damn, it was actually him. How could this be? How did the third young master know him? He really couldn't believe it. Beside him, Fantasy also frowned. Was it someone from the Dragon Valley again? What was this group of people doing here? Lin Xian was also stunned. The first thing that came to his mind was not that the other party had won 5 matches in a row, but that he had been exposed? Were these people here to capture him? However, looking at the other party's expression, it was arrogant, cold, and disdainful. They didn't look like they were here to capture him. He heaved a sigh of relief. It seemed that the other party didn't recognize him, which meant that they weren't here to capture him. They had other motives. Did the Dragon Valley come alone? Or did they come together with the Vermilion Bird Palace? Lin Xian didn't know yet, but he had to investigate this matter properly. I didn't expect to meet an opponent like you in the Battle St. Palace. I admit that your strength was not bad, Longzi said coldly. Unfortunately, I had won 5 matches in a row before. So, you are no match for me. Also, I won't give you a chance to admit defeat. As long as you stand in this arena, I will make you wish you were dead. Longzi's methods were very cruel. Anyone who fought with him would either be killed or severely injured. Hearing this, the people on the third young master's side all sneered. After killing this person, there shouldn't be anyone left on the 6th young master's side. At that time, he would still be under his control. Lin Xian also laughed. Are the people of the Dragon Valley still so arrogant? Looks like you haven't suffered enough in the past. I heard that the Dragon Valley had suffered a great loss in the Void Ocean. Later on, you were beaten up by Lin Wudi. Why don't you go back obediently? Instead, you dare to come out and show off? Aren't you afraid that Lin Wudi will come looking for you? Damn brat, you are courting death. Longzi's face turned ugly. This matter was indeed a disgrace to the Dragon Valley. But who dared to mention it in front of him? Someone didn't know what was good for him. The surrounding people were also stunned. Is this brat trying to provoke the other party? Is he tired of living? Humph. What bullsh** is Lin Wudi? He only used despicable means. In a head-on battle, he is no match for the elites of the Dragon Valley. If Lin Wudi dares to come here today, I can kill him with one hand. Longzi exuded a terrifying murderous aura. Don't care about Lin Wudi. I will kill you today. Buzz. Longzi exuded a terrifying murderous aura, and there was even a low dragon roar. The whole world shook again. This powerful force was even more terrifying than the fully armed King Kong. Chapter 3500. His fists could move, and each of them carried the shadow of a dragon. These attacks were all aimed at Lin Xian's vital points. It was extremely vicious. Humph. Lin Xian snorted and clenched his fists. His golden palm carried the laws of the 5 elements, and the roar of a dragon came from his body. He punched out. The sky fell, and the earth cracked. At this moment, everyone in Battle Sage Palace was stunned. They had seen the most unbelievable scene. Even the people on the 3rd young master's side were about to kneel down. Fatty also jumped up, his face full of shock, because Long Zi was blown apart by a single punch. That's right, he was blown apart by a single punch. Lin Xian's fist carried an unparalleled power, directly shattering all of the other party's attacks. Moreover, it landed heavily on the other party's body, causing the other party's body to break into pieces. The miserable sound pulled everyone from their dreams back to reality. Then, their scalps went numb. What kind of punch was that? It was too terrifying. Why do I feel that even a level 3 saint would not be able to take it? Damn it! How dare you hurt me? I'll kill you! Long Zi roared and quickly healed. The purple dragon scales on his forehead shone with an unparalleled light. Instantly, bolts of lightning burst out from his forehead and filled the sky. The destructive aura sent chills down everyone's spines. Lin Xian snorted and reached out his hand, slapping over. This time, he did not hold back. With one strike, he smashed the other party's forehead. Those purple dragon patterns were full of cracks, and the purple destructive lightning that had just gathered was also smashed into nothingness. Boom! Long Zi fell heavily on the arena, causing it to shake nonstop. There were even more cracks on his body. How was that possible? Long Zi was completely suppressed? The 3rd young master's side was dumbfounded. Long Zi's strength was strong, and he had won 5 consecutive battles. He was their hope. But now, this hope was knocked to the ground in 2 moves and exploded with a single punch. The others were also in disbelief. Long Zi was even more crazy. How was that possible? He had won 5 consecutive battles, and he was so strong. How could an ant beat him? Damn it! He fought back. However, what greeted him next was a large golden hand that streaked across the sky, breaking all the bones in his body. Moreover, out of all places, the other party's palm just had to hit his face, causing his entire head to deform. He had already recovered several times, but he was still unable to escape. No matter how he tried to escape, the golden palm would always land on his face. Damn it, I'm going to kill you. Long Zi was so angry that her lungs were about to explode. Lin Xian sneered. Aren't you very powerful? Wasn't it supposed to be a 5-win streak? Didn't you look down on Lin Wudi? Trash like you can't even beat me. How dare you challenge Lin Wudi? As he spoke, he waved his golden hand, and every strike was earth-shattering. Long Zi was smashed into smithereens. The others were also stunned. Heavens, this was definitely a ruthless person. Long Zi was incomparably sullen. He knew that he had been careless. The person in front of him was very strong. He even suspected that the other party had suppressed his cultivation to deceive him. Damn it, he was at a disadvantage. He had to leave quickly. I admit, before he could finish, he was slapped back. His entire mouth was smashed, and half of his head was smashed. Lin Xian sneered. You're pretty good at holding out. Let's see how long you can hold out. Hold out your sister. Long Zi was about to cry. Damn it, he wanted to admit defeat. But the other party did not seem to give him a chance. This was revenge. As expected, he tried again. But just as he opened his mouth was smashed. There was no choice. Long Zi was extremely sullen, but he had to admit defeat now. His soul roared, sending out an angry soul ripple. Since he could not admit defeat physically, he would use his soul to do it. But he had underestimated Lin Xian. Soul attack? His Tianji divine eyes opened, forming a pair of mysterious eyes that pierced the other party's soul, causing him to scream. This time, Long Zi's soul was heavily injured. Not to mention begging for mercy, he probably wanted to die. Just like that, Long Zi could not even open his mouth to admit defeat. He was beaten to the ground by Lin Xian like a dead dog. He was so arrogant and even dared to challenge Lin Wudi. I thought he was some expert. I didn't expect him to be so weak. This kind of trash dares to call himself a 5-time champion? Lin Xian kicked the other party off the arena, then looked up at the palace in the sky. Speaking of which, is there no one else? Do you want to continue? I think with my strength, I should be able to be a 10-time champion. Third young master's people were so scared that their scalps went numb. Third young master's face was extremely ugly. To be honest, he was going crazy. Was Longzi going easy on him? Damn it, could it be that he was unworthy of his reputation? This time, it was not only Longzi who was embarrassed, but also him. He felt that he had no face to stay any longer, so he said coldly, "Bring it back. Let's go." These people directly rushed into the sky. One of the saints took Longzi away and left completely. "Ah, I actually won. Ha 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 ha." Fatty laughed loudly, not daring to believe it. One had to know that since he was born, he had been suppressed by a few geniuses in his family, including his third brother. They bullied him every time, and he could not beat them, so he could only try his best to avoid them. However, he did not expect that he would gain the upper hand in a direct confrontation with his third brother. Moreover, he had slapped his third brother's face. This feeling was too good. Who else? The fatty started to get cocky as well. Standing in the void, he looked as though he was asking for a beating. However, the entire Battle Sage Palace was silent because Lin Xian's strength was too strong. Did Longzi go easy on him? They did not dare to believe it. Longzi must have been beaten to the point that she could not fight back. It seemed that another formidable cultivator had come to Alchemy Valley. They did not know who this young man was. Which sect or family was he from? In an instant, everyone went to investigate, and many people even started to invite him. Lin Xian politely rejected all of these invitations. He took 3 times the bet, then left with Fatty. This time, he was prepared to go into seclusion for a while. He had to refine the elixir first. This way, he would have enough trump cards when he attended the birthday banquet. Following that, Fatty, Lin Xian, and Fantasy headed straight for the best restaurant. Then, they used their winnings to have a sumptuous meal. This time, they were eating real demon sage meat. Every bite contained the essence of heaven and earth, and they were about to have a nosebleed. After the meal, Lin Xian and the other two felt that their cultivation had increased. Damn, as expected of demon sage meat. It was indeed terrifying. However, the price was still painful to pay. After the meal, Lin Xian returned to seclusion. Fantasy stood guard at the side, while Fatty went out. Because of this battle, he had become famous. Many people who could not invite Lin Xian began to invite him. In an instant, Fatty's status rose. Chapter 3501. The living fossil of the Nine Nether tribe was a godlike existence in the Alchemy Valley. Everyone knew him. Moreover, his name was known throughout the universe. That was because the sacred weapons he refined were extremely terrifying. Moreover, he was one of the few who had participated in the imitation of the extreme weapon and survived. Whether it was his status or strength, he was unparalleled. Therefore, his 5,000th birthday this time attracted countless experts to come and offer their blessings. Recently, the Nine Nether tribe released a piece of news. Whoever presented the best gift at the birthday banquet would get a chance. A chance to make a request like a living fossil. It was said that any request would be granted. Once this was said, countless people went crazy. That was an extremely terrifying master blacksmith. One request from him was enough to make those saints go crazy. In an instant, countless people were making preparations. At the same time, the Nine Nether tribe also welcomed some extremely honorable people. Among them, the eldest young master received a very impressive person. Even though he was the eldest young master of the Nine Nether tribe, he had to lower his head slightly in front of him. "Brother Lei, are you satisfied with your stay these few days?" The eldest young master looked at the young man in front of him and smiled. If Lin Xian was here, he would definitely recognize this person. He was no stranger because this person was the one who had a conflict with him at the Nine Dragon Mountain. It was also the person who wanted her little white monkey. She didn't expect that the other party had indeed been invited by the Nine Nether tribe. That young Master Lei nodded and said, "Greetings, eldest young master. I'm living very well. However, are those people really not back yet? Obviously, he still could not forget about the little white monkey. The eldest young master frowned and said, "We are already looking for them. We are also very puzzled as to why 6 of our tribesmen disappeared into thin air. Don't worry, we will definitely investigate this matter thoroughly." At this point, a murderous intent appeared in the eldest young master's eyes. How could the people of the 9 Nether tribe disappear for no reason? What happened? Could it be that they were killed by someone? How dare someone attack their tribesmen in their territory, regardless of who the other party was? Once caught, they would definitely be torn into pieces. The eldest young master took a deep breath and the murderous intent in his eyes disappeared. He then said, "Oh right, Brother Lay, there is one more thing. The geniuses from the Vermilion Bird Palace and the Dragon Valley are here too. They seem to want to meet Brother Lay." Young Master Lay nodded. "I also want to see what's so special about the geniuses of the first astral realm." On the other side, Lin Xian also came out of seclusion. The corners of his mouth curled up into a smile. Finally, he had successfully refined the Heaven Yellow 9 Heavens pill. With this pill in hand, he had boundless confidence. "Brother, you've carved it out. Hurry up and leave. Otherwise, you won't be able to make it in time for the birthday celebration," the fatty said anxiously outside. "Okay," Lin Xian nodded. He brought Fantasy and Fatty to the birthday banquet. The birthday banquet was held in the Golden Fire Plain, where the supreme-grade spirit veins of the alchemy star intersected. It could be said to be a place where the spiritual energy of heaven and earth gathered. At this moment, the Golden Fire Plains was truly bustling with activity. Saints were very common in this place. There were even little saints who descended from the sky and were invited inside. When he was in seclusion, Lin Xian asked the fatty to help him find out about the situation in the Dragon Valley. The fatty said that the Dragon Valley and the 8 Wind Palace were also here. Moreover, there were many of them. Even the palace master of the Vermilion Bird Palace was here. What were they here for? Were they here to congratulate him? Or did they have other motives? Lin Xian really didn't know. However, he was confident that no one would be able to see through his disguise. After parking the 3-tailed Tengu and the war chariot, the fatty changed back to his original form and looked at the figures in front of him. The fatty also took a deep breath. He said, "Brother Xian, let's go." The 3 of them strode forward. As he was from the 9 Netherbird tribe, he was unimpeded along the way. Suddenly, the fatty was stunned and stopped in his tracks. Damn, Sister Yinran is actually coming out to receive him? Wait, could it be that some big shot is here? Having said that, the fatty quickened his pace. Lin Xian and Fantasy also followed behind him. "Sister Yinran, why are you here too?" the fatty asked in surprise. There was a graceful figure standing in front of him. She was dignified and generous, but she didn't lose her ethereal nature, especially her eyes that were like limpid autumn waters. One couldn't help but marvel at her beauty. The fatty transmitted his voice at the same time. "Brother, this is Sister Yinran, also from the 9 Netherbird tribe. She's a genius, and more importantly, she's highly valued by our ancestor. It could be said that she had been by the ancestor's side all these years. I didn't expect her to come this time. I really don't know who she's waiting for." "Oh, someone by the side of the living fossil." Lin Xian was surprised. He couldn't help but take a few more glances at the other party. Yinran of the 9 Netherbird tribe also looked over. When she saw the fatty, she also smiled and said, "Sixth brother, you've been very impressive recently. There are rumors about you everywhere. I heard that you've gotten to know an incredible person." The fatty smiled and said, "Sister Yinran, don't laugh at me. I'm not impressive at all. I'm just bullied by those bastards. However, you said that I know an incredible person. That's true. Let me introduce you to my brother." The fatty moved to the side and came to Lin Xian's side. "This is my brother. He's very impressive." Yinran of the 9 Netherbird tribe glanced at Lin Xian and nodded slightly. However, she didn't say much. That was because she had seen too many geniuses these days. Lin Xian was only a sage in the middle stage of the first heaven. He wasn't too conspicuous among the many geniuses. Therefore, she didn't pay too much attention to him. Instead, she said to the fatty, "Sixth brother, hurry up and go in." "All right, we're going to see the ancestor later." He had to be careful. The old ancestor had some troubles recently, so he must not provoke him. The ancestor has been troubled. What troubled him? The fatty trembled in fear. "Look at how scared you are." "Don't worry, it has nothing to do with us juniors. I'll tell you when I'm free. I still have things to do now." "Sister Yinran, I know. Thank you for your reminder." The fatty nodded gratefully. Then, he brought Lin Xian and Fantasy in. After entering, the fatty said, "Brother, Sister Yinran has been too busy recently." Before he could finish, Lin Xian shook his head. "It's fine. I don't mind." He knew that the fatty was talking about Yinran of the 9 Netherbird tribe. Her attitude was indeed a little cold. However, he didn't mind. After all, he knew that she had probably seen countless geniuses these days. "That's good." The fatty heaved a sigh of relief. "Then," he said doubtfully, "I wonder who it is that can make Sister Yenran personally come out to receive them." As he spoke, he turned around. In the next moment, his expression changed. "Damn it, it's actually Boss." Lin Xian also turned around. Indeed, he saw a group of people walking over from afar. The leader was a tall man. He walked with majestic steps and an endless domineering aura. This should be the eldest son of the 9 Netherbird tribe. In other words, the fatty's big brother. Chapter 3502. Eldest Young Master? Lin Xian looked at him curiously and squinted his eyes. Although this eldest young master was very domineering, if one looked carefully, they would discover that he was actually half a step behind another person. In other words, he wasn't the one leading the group. Then who was the one leading the group? After taking a closer look, Lin Xian was stunned. "It's him." Lin Xian realized that the one leading the group was young Master Lei, who had a conflict with him on Nine Dragon Mountain. Is he really that respectable? Who exactly was this person? Other than young Master Lei and his companions, there were other people around who were equally outstanding and had powerful auras. They were from Vermilion Bird Palace and Eight Wind Palace. They were together. F***CK. Who are these people around Boss? Fatty was also surprised. In the next moment, he jumped up because he saw that Sister Yinran was also walking forward. Who is that person? Is Sister Yinran waiting for him? Fatty was shocked. Lin Xian also squinted his eyes. It seemed like the other party had a strong background. He said to Fatty, "Let's go." Fatty came back to his senses and nodded. Boss often bullied him, so it would be better if they didn't meet. The further in they went, the better the scenery was. There were various pavilions and palaces, and many experts and sky prides were gathered in groups of 3 to 5 to discuss martial arts. When Fatty arrived, many people greeted him. Fatty waved back, looking like a young master. "Isn't this Sixth brother? You've been doing well recently." At this moment, a cold voice sounded. Fatty jumped in fright and quickly turned his head around. Lin Xian and Fantasy also turned around, only to see a group of people walking towards them from the left. The one leading the group had an extremely cold expression. Lin Xian knew this person too. He was the 3rd young master who went against them at the Battle God Palace. There were many martial artists following behind the 3rd young master. Every one of them was an expert in sky prides. They looked at Lin Xian with hostility in their eyes. F***CK. It's this guy. Fatty cursed in his heart, but he still put on a smile on his face. Little brother here pays his respects. Fatty cupped his fists and said, "I thought that you, old Sixth, had found an expert and became arrogant. I didn't expect that you would bow to me. I can't accept it," the 3rd young master said coldly. At this point, he turned to look at Lin Xian and Ming Ming, who was beside him. It was as if he wanted to see through the two of them. Lin Xian stood there with his hands clasped behind his back, a faint smile on his face. He didn't care about the gazes of those people. Originally, Fatty thought that 3rd young master was going to attack his brother. He had already thought of what to say, but he never expected that he would be stunned the moment his 3rd brother spoke. The third young master looked at Lin Xian and suddenly revealed a smile. Young master has good methods. I saw your performance in the Battle St. Palace clearly. May I know which clan young master is from? I'm afraid you wouldn't know my family even if I told you. Lin Xian shook his head. Third young master did not get angry. Instead, he asked, what brings you to Alchemy Valley? Are you here to celebrate my ancestor's birthday? If that's the case, I think you can accompany me. I can introduce you to my ancestor. Speaking of which, in terms of status in the family, my status is much higher than that of my good-for-nothing younger brother of mine. Young master, why don't you come with me? Fatty's face changed immediately. Damn, he was trying to poach him. Furthermore, he was trying to poach him in front of him. Brother Xian is my guest. I have other matters to attend to. With that, he pulled Lin Xian and wanted to leave. Oh my, isn't this old sixth? Why are you in such a hurry to leave? At this moment, another voice rang out. This voice was not cold, but very loud. It was as if he was afraid that others would not know that he was here. Fatty's face changed. Even third young master's face changed. A group of people walked over from afar. The person in the lead was tall and strong. He walked with a majestic gait and a proud look on his face. There were even more people beside him. There were even more people than third young master's group. Boss. Third young master's face changed. Fatty was also stunned. Big brother. That's right. The person who came was the eldest young master that they had met at the entrance. At this moment, young Master Lei was beside eldest young master, as well as the surrounding sky prides. Eldest young master was in high spirits. When he saw that there were only Lin Xian and Fantasy beside Fatty, his eyes were filled with disdain. When he saw that there were many sky prides beside third young master, a cold look appeared on his face. It seemed that the one who was competing with him was still third young master. Big brother, you're quite early, third young master said coldly. Eldest young master snorted. How can I be late to the ancestor's birthday banquet? Moreover, I've brought along a guest to introduce to the ancestor. A guest? Third young master looked at the people behind eldest young master. His eyes flickered. They were similar to his group. Other than the local experts of Planet Alchemy, there were also experts from Vermilion Bird Palace and Eight Wind Palace. Among them, there was one person who surprised him. He realized that the person seemed to be standing in front of eldest young master. Who is this person? Doesn't he know the rules and wants to steal the limelight? Eldest young master said proudly. Third young master, let me introduce you. This is young Master Lei. Young Master Lei. Third young master's face changed instantly. He seemed to have thought of something as his eyes turned strange. He quickly bowed. So it's young Master Lei. I've heard of young Master Lei for a long time. Now that I've met you, you're indeed more elegant than the rumors. You're too polite. Facing third young Master Lei only nodded his head slightly. The sages beside him were displeased. However, third young master sent a telepathic message and those people were shocked. They looked at Mr. Lei with great shock. Brother, let's go. While eldest young master and third young master were confronting each other, Fatty pulled Lin Xian and the rest and left quietly. There were still 3 days to the birthday banquet of the living fossil. Therefore, Su Chun and the rest had time to play around. After a day, the golden fire plains became even more lively. At this moment, countless people were gathering in one place. Lin Xian and the rest were interested. They asked around and realized that there were people sparring over there. Sparring? Fatty's eyes lit up. Then, he said, there's a good show to watch. Brother, let's go and take a look. The group of them also walked forward. He saw that there were indeed people sparring. In front of them, Tao patterns filled the air and energy surged. However, they were well controlled. Not a single bit leaked out or destroyed the surroundings. There were only cracks in the void. The people sparring were all experts. Their control of energy was extremely precise. In the pavilion, Lin Xian saw eldest young master, third young master, and the rest at first glance. Obviously, they were the ones in charge. The other young geniuses were sparring. Sixth young master, you're here? Third young master's eyes were good. He immediately saw Fatty in the crowd. Chapter 3503. With a cry of surprise, the crowd made way for him. He was also a young master of the 9 Netherbird tribe. The fatty had no choice but to brace himself and walk forward. The eldest young master laughed. "Sixth brother, you came at the right time. I heard that you know a young supreme talent who defeated the expert from the Dragon Valley who had 5 consecutive victories at Battlesage Palace. Where is he? Ask him to come out and let us see him." As soon as these words came out, everyone revealed a look of surprise. The expert who had won 5 consecutive championships at Battlesage Palace was definitely a terrifying expert. It was hard to believe that someone could defeat him, especially someone who was with the 6th young master. It was hard to believe, especially those from Gold Refinery. They knew that the 6th young master of the 9 Netherbird tribe did not have many experts around him. He was often beaten up by his brothers in the tribe. The fatty's face changed. He could only look at Lin Xian. He had to ask for Lin Xian's opinion on this matter. Lin Xian also looked at the fatty and gave him a calm look. He said, "I don't dare to call myself a peerless supreme talent. However, the person who defeated Long Zi is indeed me." "It's you." The eldest young master was shocked and looked at Lin Xian. Previously, he had seen this person beside the 6th brother. However, he did not pay much attention to him. He did not expect it to be this person. The 3rd young master chuckled. "That's right, big brother. It was this young master who was extremely powerful at that time." He could tell that he could not rope in Lin Xian. Since that was the case, he would not let Lin Xian off easily. After all, Lin Xian had embarrassed him that day. He had to get rid of Lin Xian. Now, he wanted to make use of his big brother to get rid of Lin Xian. Many of the people on the eldest young master's side looked at Lin Xian. Even young Master Lei looked over in surprise. "What's wrong? Is there something wrong with young Master Lei?" the eldest young master asked. Young Master Lei's eyes flickered. This person looked familiar, but he could not recall where he had seen him before. The others were whispering. "Is he the one who defeated the expert who had 5 consecutive victories? He doesn't look like much. His cultivation is only at the middle stage of the 1st heaven. Is he really as powerful as the rumors said?" These people all had a doubtful attitude. The fatty could not stand it and snorted. "Why? You don't believe me? Let me tell you. This brother of mine is extremely powerful. If you don't believe me, come out and try." Fatty had a fiery temper. He had been despised for so long, so today, he had to hold his head high. Is that so? Did he brag about how powerful he was? It seemed that he was only a Just at this moment, a sinister laugh rang out. "Who was it? You're speaking so sneakily. Since you're not convinced of my brother's strength, then come out and show me your true strength." Fatty shouted coldly. "Of course, I don't want to submit to him. But no matter what, this is still your 9 Netherclan's territory. If I don't have your 6th young master's face, I'm afraid my end will be very miserable." That voice rang out once again. It was clear that the other party was somewhat fearful. "Hee, there's no need to worry about that," the 3rd young master said with a smile. "Today's sparring session was held for the sake of exchanging pointers. We won't use our status as members of the 9 Nether tribe to oppress others. You don't have to have any scruples. As long as someone uses the identity of the 9 Nether clan to oppress you, I will deal with it impartially. I think Big Brother shouldn't have any objections." Yes, 3rd brother is right. All the duels today must be fair. The surrounding people sucked in a breath of cold air. It seemed that the rumors were true. This 6th young master wasn't well-liked in the family. In the void, that voice laughed again. "All right, since the 1st young master and 3rd young master have guaranteed it, then I won't hold back. Today, I want to experience for myself just how powerful this legendary peerless genius really is." Buzz. The void rippled and a figure walked out. It was a man who looked like a middle-aged man. He wasn't tall, but he was very muscular. The moment he appeared, he gave off a biting cold aura. Especially his gaze, it was too sharp. It was actually the 7-star sword saint. The people around all cried out in alarm. This was going to be fun. Yes, They didn't expect it to be the 7-star sword saint. His 7-star sword was the best in the world. This is also a second heavenly layer sage. That's right. Rumor had it that when Long Zi obtained her 5 consecutive victories, the 7-star sword saint was already preparing to rush to the battle sage palace. However, he was a step too late. When he arrived, Long Zi had already left. Hence, the two of them didn't fight. Now that someone had defeated Long Zi, he would naturally look for that person. They all looked at Lin Xian. They didn't know if this kid was as powerful as the rumors said. Or was he just lucky and undeserved fame? Let's wait and see. We'll know soon enough. If he was weak, he would probably be killed by the 7-star sword saint on the spot. Kid, I won't bully you. You make the first move. The 7-star sword saint pulled out his 7-star sword. The long sword was inlaid with 7 stars. It was incomparably dazzling. It swayed slightly, and the sword light shone in all directions. The void couldn't withstand it. It was a good sword. Lin Xian squinted his eyes and nodded slightly. However, he didn't make the first move. Instead, he said calmly, "You're the challenger. You make the first move. Also, do you need me to give you 3 moves?" The surrounding people were in an uproar. Giving him 3 moves? Kid, do you know who you're facing? He's too young and doesn't know his place. He's probably dead this time. Humph. He's courting death. The 7-star sword saint's face darkened. He didn't say anything and directly swung his sword. The long sword carried the laws of heaven and earth. It poured down, and a terrifying aura spread in all directions. Everyone sighed. The 7-star sword saint attacked with all his strength. He didn't give Lin Xian any chance. Buzz. Lin Xian shifted his position and pulled out a phantom to dodge the first attack. The terrifying murderous intent shattered the place where he was. The buildings around him weren't affected at all. One could imagine how precise the 7-star sword saint's control was. The 7-star sword saint attacked again after his first attack missed. It swept out like a Milky Way. Lin Xian pulled out another phantom and quickly dodged. The surrounding people were surprised. What an exquisite body technique. He could actually dodge 2 attacks from the 7-star sword saint. The 7-star sword saint roared, "Kid, you're sneaking around. Don't you dare to fight back?" "As you wish." Lin Xian stomped his foot and didn't retreat. He faced the 7-star sword saint's third attack. This attack was even more terrifying. The 3 stars on it had already lit up. It was enough to split the sky. Clang. Sparks flew. The place where the two were directly turned into a black hole. However, the two of them controlled it very well. Not a trace of energy leaked out. The surrounding people were amazed. However, when they took a closer look, their eyeballs almost fell out. They saw Lin Xian standing there. He stretched out 2 fingers and clamped the blade of the 7-star sword. He blocked the third attack with just 2 fingers. These people felt that they were going crazy. How was this possible? It was indeed a good sword. Lin Xian held the blade with his fingers and looked at it carefully. He nodded slightly. The 7-star sword saint's face changed drastically. What a terrifying power. It was as powerful as the rumors said. He didn't dare to be careless. With a roar, the 4th star lit up. The power of the 7-star sword in his hand erupted again. You're tuning in to the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.